This is The Gorge. This is a podcast where my friend Sara and I gorge ourselves on overanalyzing a game or game-related topic. This week we are going back to Tales of Berseria for the PS4 and PC.
Because we still got more fucking shit to say.
Oh, there's so much more to talk about.
I got more fucking shit to say about this game. I'm not done yet, motherfuckers. Cause we got characters to talk about, and plot shit, and all that non-game related stuff. And I would say that, like, this is the spoiler section, and, like, last week was the unspoiler section, but then I listened to last week, and there was a lot of spoilers, so, sorry, we screwed that part up. We're not very good at this sometimes, but it's okay, because Tales of Berseria is fucking radical.
We kept it, like, there's a cutoff, like, there's a pretty significant cutoff point without us blatantly mentioning it. Like, there's a point where we stopped talking about gameplay and focused more on plot. Like,
and you mean by plot, you mean mostly how cool Laffyset is?
Yeah, pretty much that part. But like, we didn't flat out say it like we usually do. But there's a distinction. It's
there's
just
a
that.
cutoff part.
Yeah, it's just that for Berseria, we kind of spent like twice as long talking about the gameplay than we did we usually do for Tales games, because it's the first, like, one we've done where, like, it's a big step up from gameplay-wise.
And, I mean,
like,
it's the first, new Tales game we've gotten in a while. And, you know, we never talked about, like, gameplay. We've never been too intensely talking about gameplay on the Gorge when it comes to Tales games. So it was kind of good to get, like, our fingers into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is the first one we've done kind of on time. I mean, the game's been out. The game has been out for, like, what, 2 months now?
No, like a month. It came out...
Yeah.
It came out... Oh, yeah, it came out on my mom's birthday, so January 24th.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah,
a little over 2 months.
A little bit over a month, like 6 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so, like... But now it's all spoilers, baby, all the way down, so, you know...
Oh, yeah, this is definitely, you know, plot and character development and everything that... If you haven't already played the game, and you care, if you don't care about spoilers, then keep listening, but if you do care, pause the podcast now, go beat the game, and then come back and listen to this.
Unfortunately, unlike Exilio 1, fortunately, unlike Exilio 1, but also kind of unfortunately, you can't beat it in 18 hours. It's just not possible.
Yeah, no. You know, you'll run into some trouble there. Probably around, what was your time?
Like 60, 70 something hours?
Okay.
What was yours?
I think it was just under 55.
Okay, yeah. But I got a little bit more intense with, like, everything. So, and I had...
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm fucking obsessed with this game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. It's not pretty, but...
It's really, really good.
But it's super good and it's so pretty. Oh my god. We haven't even talked about that part.
Yeah.
We will eventually at some point.
Yeah. So, do you want to do our party member breakdown now, or do you want to do, like, more general plot stuff first?
I feel like we'll do general plot stuff as we talk about the characters, because Tales games are character-related, or character-centric games, so as we talk about characters, plot shit will come up. So we might as well just do character breakdown, you know?
Okay. Well then, we'll start off at the beginning, with one of the strongest protagonists we've seen in Tales games, Velvet.
You mean the Lord of Edge?
the Edge Queen. I wish I would have saved my title card for this week, because it's more character-based, but I love it so much.
It's fine, because she really is, like, the Queen of Edgelandia, you know what I mean?
It's something that, like, I mentioned this to you, like, when I first started playing the game, and it's something that I've always found, like, a little weird. Like, on most video game boards, the triad of edgelords is always Shadow the Hedgehog, DMC Dante, the one from the reboot, and Ryuko. And I'm always puzzled about Ryuko's inclusion, because in Kill la Kill, Ryuko's a really nice person.
I mean, she is. She's a good being, you know? Like, she's really friendly, and she wants to, like, hang out with Mako, and, like, she loves her family. You know, she loves Mako's family, and she's, like, a nice kid, you know? Like, she has a moment where she kind of has a mental breakdown at the end of the show, but, I mean, like, it's a justified mental breakdown, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, every time you see her, like, outside of fighting Satsuki and the Elite Four, like, she's goofing off and dancing around and being a little weirdo. And so, like, I was like, yeah, she looks edgy, but, like, you know, she's really nice. And then...
Yeah, she's a good kid, but, you know...
Yeah. And then when you play as Velvet, and you're like, oh, you should be the third one.
You are the true edge queen. I mean, like, Ryuko just wears black and red, and that doesn't really count. But Velvet wears black and red, and is also the angriest person ever, and I love her for it.
She is, it's like... And she goes through some pretty significant character development as time goes on, but, like...
For sure.
Like, for the first... I don't know, for the first act and a lot of the second act, like... She's just the most Sasuke, Vegeta, and I mean that in a loving way, because I like Velvet.
Yeah, a total positive way, because Vegeta is fucking awesome. And, like, I love Velvet, like, I do. She's, I mean, when she is allowed to play, like, either... like the smartass or the straight man in like the group dynamics, that's when she like really shines, because for one, her English voice actor is amazing, and for two, like her character just does the straight man thing like really, really well, because she's so ridiculous looking.
And it's funny because like she reminds me a lot of abridged Android 16, where 16 is always like, we should be killing Goku right now. And it's just like, Velvet's like, how can I steer this conversation towards how much I hate Artorias?
And she always finds a way. The summary of Velvet's reaction to every single side quest is, boy, this sure sounds like a whole lot of not killing Artorias. You know? Like,
exactly.
And it's great. I mean, it's honestly... She's so much fun, and I mean, like, that is a gameplay thing, too. She's super fun to play as, but, like, as a character, because she's really ridiculous, like any other Tales character, because she's also a neat freak, which is just tremendous. It's just tremendous. That, like, the angry, like, revenge-obsessed, you know, grimdark, black and red, edgelord queen is like, I gotta sweep. You know?
Well... It's also funny because, like, if you read, like, some of the costume descriptions, like, it mentions, if you go to her default hairstyle, it mentions that she purposefully makes it look like that. Like, she still brushes it relentlessly every day, and she just styles it to look like, you know, a mess.
Yeah, of course. Now, if only we could do something about her costume.
Oh, yeah. That's actually one of the bullet points I have on here is, like, is Velvet just a walking fashion disaster or what?
I'm so divided on her shitty costume, because it is shit. Don't get me wrong. Velvet's costume is, like 100% shit. But the problem is that Velvet's shitty costume cuts a great silhouette.
Because you spend most of the game kind of staring at her back, so you only just see the black coat, and you're like, oh, the coat looks pretty cool, and she's got the bandaged up arm, and she's got the long hair, and, you know, you can see, like, the edge of her boots, which look really cool. And then, like, you're like, okay, well, that looks interesting, and she has a very striking silhouette, and in, like, the, like, her anime cut-ins, like, her drawn cut-ins, like, she has a lot of bits that flow and, you know, create more, like, movement, like the idea of movement and action, you know, kind of like the way you'd see, like, Batman's cape in, like, the mid-90s, where the cape itself was, like Todd McFarlane style, where, like, the cape itself was kind of a character.
Yeah, where it was, like, kind of, like, more like smoke and, like, alive than it was, like, made out of fabric. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, totally. I totally get you. Like, it cuts a super good fabric, Jesus, silhouette. Like, it does. Like, you look at, like, if you turn Velvet into just all black silhouette and you look at it, and it does have a really good shape, and it's very striking, and it helps her really stand out. And then she turns around, and you're like, oh, no.
And it's just, like, it's the most, it's the most shallow attempt to make your character look fan servicey since Quiet.
Oh my god, right? Like,
you know, like the idea that, like, you're trying to mask it with reason, but we can see right through it, and we can also see through your reasoning, not just her clothes.
Right. I get it. Yeah, because, like, the reasoning is super shallow. It's like, you know, well, she's like a berserker. Well, berserkers still gotta cover up their titties. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of how it rolls, guys. Like, for one, as a person, as a breast owner, as somebody with them, that's not how boobs work. Sorry. Like, they should just be, like, flying out of the front of that shirt. Like, the way it's cut and the way it kind of, like, her boobs kind of, like, straddle the line of popping out and not. Like, they should be coming out with, like, every single movement. And they don't, because, you know, anime physics. And she's not even wearing shorts. She's wearing panties.
Yeah.
You know, she's wearing panties, basically. So, yeah, thanks, Namdai. First female protagonist, and you just are like that. It's cool.
It's also, like, I know, on the one hand, you do immediately get her villager outfit, so you can just put her in that for the entire game. And that outfit does look pretty good. It even does look protagonist-y.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Like, it just feels thematically wrong, you know?
Yeah. And then, but on the other hand, she already does get a default fan service outfit by getting her tattered outfit.
Oh, yeah. Which is even more ridiculous.
Yeah, so, like, you already have that, so why do you have to create... the outline of it looks really good, but the interior is just a complete... And even if it is, like, on top of it being a fan service outfit, it's not a very well designed outfit. There's so many bits and clashing parts, like, going around.
Yeah, like,
that
none of it
she
makes
just
sense.
looks like a big... She looks like a big mess.
And she totally is. It's just a big... Somebody went, like, make the edgiest... And here's what blows my mind. Okay, Mutsumi Inamata designed Velvet. And you can tell because her art for Velvet is fucking awful. Because Mutsumi Inamata is proof that you don't actually need to be a good artist to be a successful artist, kids. If you look at the cover of the Berseria World Guidance book, her eyes are, like, super far apart. If you she's got, like, major fisheye going on. You're like, oh, Inamata, no. But, like, Inamata is just not a good artist, which is mind-blowing because Inamata designed Gaius, but whatever, lightning can strike. Even a broken clock is right once a day, twice a day. So, like, I look at this costume, and it's a hot mess. And Inamata is responsible also for Lila and Mikleo and Zisteria, and those outfits are also kind of disasters. Like, Inamata's, like, brand of design is, like, way over-designed garbage. Like, she never stops when she's ahead, you know?
Did she do, Jude as well? Or who was it that did
No,
Jude?
Fujishima did Jude. Inamata did Mila, which explains a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. And, like, Fujishima is not a perfect designer by any means. Like, he has his missteps and stuff like that. But Inamata is, like, she's also responsible for the entire cast of Graces, which is the most over-designed bullshit game in the entire series. Because the protagonist wears disco pants, which she kind of has a weird obsession with.
Yeah,
because
like,
Mikleo wears them too, and it's like, what's going on here?
Now that I know that they are done by different artists, I can see it.
Oh yeah.
And like, and I'm always like Mikleo, and, you know, not to get too far into it, and you can kind of still see it in Velvet a little bit, and with the Graces cast, they have, like, and I've always, like, tried to pinpoint how to describe the aesthetic, and I think I figured it out.
To tell.
and I'm going to call it medieval sci-fi.
I really would sooner call it medieval disco, considering her obsession with bell bottoms. But I get what you mean.
What I mean for sci-fi is that think like that era, like 70s, 60s sci-fi with bright silver everywhere, and like it looks really clean, but it has like just a bit of more of a fantasy edge than it does a space laser edge. And I would also call it bad.
It's also bad. It's just really, and again, it blows my mind. She designed Gaius and Exilia 1. Gaius has one of the best designs in the franchise, and I don't know how she did it, honest to God. I don't know how she did it. I don't know if somebody, like, from the top came down and was like, you need, like, if you look at her sketches for, like, his original costume, it's a fucking disaster. So I don't know if, and I'll show them to you later. I don't know if somebody from the top came down and was like, you need to roll this back, girl. Or what. And it's just nobody's ever told her to do that before, because all of these other characters, like I've said before, are just major over-designed garbage. She just keeps adding elements to their costumes that just don't work. You know? Like, Miklio's weird waist, like, belted waist thing, and Velvet thousands of little dangling, jangly bits and belts everywhere. Like, Kingdom Hearts just threw up on her. Like, come on, guys. You know? It's weird.
Velvet dresses like a slutty Lulu.
She does! She totally does. She dresses like a skanky Lulu in the worst way. Like, and Lulu's got her boobs hanging out, you know? But
at least her outfit is all, like, intact.
And cohesive, again, because, as much as I don't like the design aesthetic of Kingdom Hearts, which is not an argument we're gonna get into right now, but, I still think, Nomura. I still think Nomura is a pretty damn good artist. When he is, like, you know, really laser focused on an idea and an aesthetic, like a lot of Final Fantasy X's designs, he makes really good things. I think Yuna is one of the best designs in any JRPG ever because of its, like, beautiful simplicity. Which is the key here, is what I'm trying to get into, is that simplicity is always a good idea. And Inumata doesn't know how to do it. I mean, she just does not know how to do it. I mean, at all. Oh, it's so bad.
And it sucks because, like, she gets a lot of really good bonus costumes, too. Like, her pirate outfit is significantly better than her default outfit.
Honestly, I don't know why you wouldn't just play the whole game in her pirate outfit.
Right, exactly.
Because they're pirates anyway, so why not put everybody in their pirate outfit?
It's so much better.
Oh god, it is. It really is. And, like, I would put her in her villager costume, but it just feels, like, thematically wrong. You know?
Yeah, it doesn't... The only part I put it in, I didn't touch it at all until I got to the part where you go back to a ball.
Yeah.
And
I did the same thing.
I put her in it. And then after that, because she goes through such... After the end of Act 2, she also goes through such significant character development that I was like, yeah, okay, she would wear it more now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's silly to even consider things like that. But sometimes, like, you put a costume on a character, and you just kind of go, I don't know about that. You know?
Yeah, you want it to feel, like, thematically appropriate for whatever situation you're in. Like, when the party went to the beach area, I put them all in their swimsuits.
Oh yeah. My general rule about costumes, just overall for any Tales game, is that I always play the first playthrough generally with everybody in their default costume, because that's the way the game was meant to be, like, seen. And then playthroughs, 2 through 700, I goof around with costumes and attachments and shit like that. I put people in their jacket off and, like, alt colors and stuff like that, because some of them are really good, and we'll get into that with Rokuro. But, like, generally I try to keep everybody in, like, their default looking outfits until the next playthrough. And I think that's just a stupid self-rule. You don't have to do that. If you want to put everybody in their fucking, Norman costumes, you go right on ahead, because that's hilarious.
You know what? You're right that they're hilarious. We should have just gotten all of them at once.
Yeah, it's stupid that you have to get them, like, piece by piece, and it was just a way to pad out those cats boxes, you know?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
instead of putting other attachments in the fucking boxes, you know?
Yeah. I don't need like a stack of 7 Norman outfits. I should just get one and I'm allowed to adjust the color of it.
Yeah, and I should just be able to get one pack of Norman outfits for everybody instead of like, you got Velvet's Norman outfit, you got Eisen's Norman outfit, you got Magilu's Norman. No, fuck off. Let me get all of them, you know? But whatever.
Yeah.
We still haven't really gotten into like the best part of Velvet, which is like, fuck, again, Act 2 and the end of Act 2.
Oh.
I know. God, right?
We're, like, pretty much, like, at least half the party has a holy fuck, the end of Act 2 attached to them.
Oh my god, absolutely. Pretty much everybody does. Because it's just so... I mean, it was, like, the emotional, like, climax of the whole story, basically, and everything after that is, like, kind of like resolution.
This is the first this is, like, as a side note, this is the first Tales game in a while where Act 3 felt like a huge step up compared to the previous 2 acts. Because, like, you know, we talked before about how Vesperia's Act 3 is kind of a disappointment. Mm-hmm. But, like, Tales games in general, like, their Act 3 is never quite as punchy as the end of Act 2. Like, even Abyss is Act 3 is just, like, not quite as impactful.
How dare you? Act 3 is the best part of Tales of the Abyss.
No, the end of the game is the best part.
Okay... No, because, like, the Tower of Rem is in Act 3.
Is it? No, I thought it was in Act 2. Wasn't that?
No, it's Act 3.
Oh, okay, never mind then. I'm wrong.
It's okay. Because, like, in Act 2, it's the end of Act 2 where Jude, fuck, I'm getting all my protagonists mixed up. When Luke gets the Jewel of Lorelei is when they're lowering the land, and, like, that's when he gets it. Yeah. So, like, that's how...
Okay, yeah,
so all
you're
the
right.
good stuff in Abyss. Abyss is the last Tales game to have a super, super, super solid Act 3. And, like, I know Symphonia's wasn't too amazing, but I feel like it was pretty, like not much. But it's been a while since I've gotten to Act 3 in Symphonia, so I don't feel...
Symphonia's, like, weirdness to me is that I kind of have, like, a difficult time differentiating where the part of Act 3 actually starts.
Oh, that's Exilia's big problem, too. I don't actually...
Yeah.
I could not actually tell you where Exilia's Act 3 starts. Like, is it when... Okay, we're getting off topic. Shit.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
The point is that, like, the Act 3 for Berseria is very strong, and it's due to a lot is that how much development Velvet goes through from, like, the second half of Act 2 onward. Mm-hmm,
for sure. Because, like, Act 3 is kind of the resolution to, like, well, all of this shit happened to Velvet, and so now, at the end of Act 2, so now we get to kind of see her personality undergoing a shift to this new Velvet, and the way this Velvet handles things. And it was really, I mean, it was handled really, really well, because she's very, like, one of the coolest parts at the beginning of Act 3 is when Laphicet is like, I'll fight Innominat on my own. And you would expect Velvet to be like, no way. And she's just like, you got it, little dude, you know? Like, she totally trusts him to get it done. And I thought that was amazing. I mean, it was super, just awesome.
Act 3, like, after her development, is really the point where, for Velvet, it stops being 100% about vengeance and starts being more about closure for her.
Yeah. Which is so good! God, that's so good to me! Like this idea of Velvet really not giving up on vengeance, because, like, somebody on Reddit once phrased it really well for me, is that she's not, in Act 3, she's not taking revenge for Laphicet, the first one, anymore, because Laphicet also stabbed her in the back. It's that she's taking revenge for her past self, who was happy, you know?
Yeah.
And so she's still, like, motivated by revenge, but it's a more, like, she's doing it for herself and for the sake of who she was and how that girl had her life, like, literally ruined by the shit Artorias and Laphicet the First pulled. And so it reflects in her character where she's trying to do more things for herself and be happy again, or try to find a little bit of happiness before the inevitable end.
Yeah,
I love her. I love her.
we should just do Laffy and Fee to differentiate them, because otherwise it'll get confusing.
It gets so confusing. Thanks, game, for giving us two characters with the same fucking name.
But she what I really love about her, and this is kind of applies to all the characters, and it's just a testament to how good the writing is that this game with Velvet does such a great job of mixing up who is the straight man in any given cutscene.
Right.
And the way they do it, and we'll get more of this when it's Magilu's turn, because she's the one I really want to talk about this with, and you know why.
Yeah.
But she does such a great job of being a straight man that isn't a total buzzkill. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of writing has that problem where the straight man is just not funny at all. And the dynamic between the straight man and the funny one is that you're paying attention to how the straight man reacts. Mm-hmm. And if they're shooting things down, that's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
So she does a really good job of being very serious and very angry, but the humor that revolves around her is not hindered by her existing. And fuck, the best thing ever is her Dove impression.
Oh my god.
Which is one of the funniest goddamn... I'm noticing like a shift between... in general, a lot of humor, I notice this in a lot of the media I consume, one of the worst things ever is cringe humor, right? Mm-hmm. Like, characters being forced into an awkward situation and reacting poorly to it. Uh-huh. This game did such a great job of setting up an awkward situation with her Dove impersonation, and then absolutely crushing it.
Like, the reaction is perfect, so instead of her having to do, like... Just the little cuckoo impression is so perfect, because, like, for Velvet, it's, like, the most embarrassing thing ever. And it's, like, a really simple thing, you know? It's not, like, super, super overdone or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And if it had been overdone, it would have been, like, way too much cringe humor for me to even handle. And I thought that's what they were gonna do. I was like, I'm about to have to pause this game and walk away.
Well, it was... In Zestiria, the point where Saray and Rose had to pretend to be a married couple...
Oh my god, I love that scene.
But it was at the point where it's like, if this goes on any longer, I'm going to have to walk away from the game.
But it's so funny. Like, that scene is so... God, we'll have to talk about that when we talk about Zestiria, but that scene is comedy gold, man.
But I was just like, oh god, is the Dove scene going to be that scene? Like, this game's version of that scene? And like, oh god, am I going to have to, like... hover over the pause button to like brace myself for this, and then no, she does it, and the writing crushes it. It's hilarious. It's one of the best things ever, and that's why I really love Velvet.
And it's cute. I mean, you know, as like a fan servicey thing, it's really cute. Velvet's really cute when she wants to be, and like, I'm just like, major wife material. Velvet is like waifu for lifeu. I don't know if, you know, it's like wife goals, life goals. Like, that's kind of what Velvet can be sometimes. She's just great. I mean, she's such a fun, she's honestly a fun character. Like, because they do handle her straight man-ness really, really well. I love her. And I'm really glad we finally got a really cool female protagonist who doesn't have to share the limelight with a 15-year-old medical student.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the only downside about this is a deep and spoiler territory, but God, we didn't need that ending. Ugh. And I think we touched on it last week a little bit. Mm-hmm. But like, I want to just go. The way the ending ended up playing out, to me, does not feel like an ending that the Velvet I had spent 55 hours with would have actually wanted.
I'm really torn on the ending, because I have a few opinions about it. I think it fits thematically, like, with the story, and it fits with Velvet's character. Not so much like her character development, but more so like what she's done up to this point. means that, like, she can't really have a happier ending. Like, she's too malevolent, stuff like that. For her to be, like, a normal person. So this ending she created for herself is very Velvet because she kind of just did it on her own, and it's a very selfish act. And it was kind of the happy ending she always wanted, because she did say, you know, like when she's in the flashback scene, she mentions all she ever wanted was to live happily with Laufey and Artorias, you know? Like, that's all she ever wanted was to, you know, live happy and peacefully with Laufey and her, you know, brother-in-law. So, like, it's totally in line with what Velvet would want. But, that being said, it's the same goddamn ending as the last 3 Tales games. You know?
It's exactly what we've gotten for, like, all these previous games, and it's just, like, we didn't need this retreading again.
Literally the same, and now somebody's gonna be like, no, it's not. Shut up. Yes, it is. Listen, the end of Exilio 1, Mila becomes a god, is separated from the party, they can't see and talk to her anymore. Whoops, she's gone forever. End of Exilio 2, Ludger becomes the last fucking thing and vanishes from existence, so now nobody can see or talk to him ever again. Oh, he's gone forever. Oh man, the end of Zestiria, I'm not going to spoil that one because you're not there, but it's pretty much this kind of the same way, as in Sore's gone, you know, and nobody can talk to him. That kind of thing. Hey, guess how Berseria ends?
It's the exact same thing. It's the motivations are, like, no, that doesn't matter. What matters is that, like, in terms of actions that happen, the result is the same.
It's the same, and I told her this. The reason is the same reason. Yamamoto is the writer. He is the only writer for Berseria. I mean, there's, like, smaller scenario writers, but he's the only main scenario writer for Berseria. He was one of 3 major scenario writers for Zestiria, and he was one of 4 for Exilio and Exilio 2. So Yamamoto is the only connecting factor here, and as much as I like the writing in Berseria, dude needs to go. We need another writer for the next game, because we
need someone who can write better endings.
Yeah, it's the same fucking ending every time, and I'm tired of it. I mean, if we hadn't gotten the same ending as the last 3 games, I think I wouldn't be so sour on this ending, you know?
Yeah, if it stood as its own and it weren't the same thing we've gotten with all these other previous games, then I would have felt more impactful. Mm-hmm. But because it's such a retreading and it's the exact same thing, I just rolled my eyes and I was like, I didn't feel the emotional punch that I would feel playing, you know, certain other JRPGs of its ilk.
Yeah.
Like, it worked for Exilia. It didn't work for Exilia 2 because I didn't care what happened to any of those characters by the end of that.
Right.
And so, but it was the same thing. So I'm like, oh, when I see it this time, I'm just like, okay, well, yeah, I get it.
I get it. And I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to rebottle Lightning, because you almost said it there. You almost said Abyss.
Yeah.
They're trying to rebottle the Lightning of the ending of Abyss. But you can't do it, because the writer is a different writer, and Miyajima is just on another level. She's just a much better writer than Yamamoto, even as well as Berseria is written. It's just, it kind of handles its emotional notes in a less superior way than the way Abyss handled them.
Yeah.
And Abyss has a certain subtlety to it that Berseria just doesn't have, and that's kind of the nature of Berseria, because there's nothing subtle about this game. But, like, they're trying to recapture Abyss, and it's just never gonna happen, guys. So do something different. Give us another happy ending, like for Vesperia.
Yeah, like, Vesperia is the only game in the series where a party member does not fuck off at the end.
Right? It's such bullshit.
After all of this, like, after all the Tales games I played recently, after all of them, yeah, I could go for a more low-key adventure. Like, the next one's going to come out for the Switch, and because it's a Nintendo product, I'm going to assume that it will be a more upbeat, like, you know, not necessarily drama-free, but, like, a more positive, easygoing experience in a Tales game. So, yeah, you know what? After the gut punch in Exilia, after the slogging through Exilia 2, and after the just sheer aggression of Berseria, you know, take it easy, guys. Just something.
Oh, I really hope the next game in the series. I mean, I hope like we get like a independent Switch game, but seriously, we need a third game, guys. Come on.
Yeah, that would also But like the next like iteration that is like, here is your new world.
Right.
Like, yeah, just chill out.
Chill out. Take a fucking breath. You know, do Graces again, but maybe not quite so cheesy.
Yeah, make it good.
Graces is not bad. It plays really well. It's basically like the backbone of the Zestiria / Berseria battle system. But it's just really cheesy. It was a level of cheese that I just couldn't handle after a certain point.
It's aggressively JRPG.
It's really, really, as amazing as Sophie is as a character, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. Like
I've seen a lot of. I haven't really played it at all, but I've seen like enough of Graces that to me, Graces feels like what Western media thinks anime is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
oh my God,
like that
so
kind
right.
of parody of anime.
Yeah. Like
that's what it feels like.
You're totally right though, because it's very, like, I know you love friendship, but it's almost aggressively friendship based. You know what I mean? Like, it's too much. It was an overload, and my cynical ass was like, I can't do this. I'm sorry, Graces, you're a lot of fun, but I can't. I'm sorry. I got it on sale, so it wasn't a big deal. But, and I tried, god damn it. I gave it the old college try, so I'm considering myself free of disdain from anybody. But, you know, like, yeah, basically all I'm saying in this is that you're right, make another, like, lighter Tales game for the Switch, but just not Grace's light. That's the important part here.
So speaking of chilling out,
hey!
Let's talk about the best Big Brother and Tales game since Yuri Lowell.
Oh my god, Rokuro is so good.
Rokuro is such a cool. We say this word all the time.
I know.
Like it's our word, but like, fuck, dude, Rokuro's so cool.
Rokuro's so fucking cool.
Rokuro's cool in that, like, I don't want to bring it up again, but in that DBZ way of like, you feel like, you know, you're like a grade schooler watching your animes and you're being like, oh man, this character is doing the cool thing where he fights the bad guy and it's awesome, yay! Like, that level of like unbridled joy is exactly what I feel when Rokuro does something awesome.
Because Rokuro is so, like, he's exactly the second character you needed, right?
Yeah.
So, like, he's the second party member after Velvet.
Well, you know what it is? Mm-hmm. I just don't mean to cut you off, but, like, what it is that we talked last week how Laphicet is a Gainax protagonist.
Right.
Rokuro is absolutely like a Shonen Jump protagonist.
He totally is.
His ultimate goal is he wants to be the best. You know? But,
like, because Berseria is... I mean, I know I spent a lot of time just ripping up, you know, Yamamoto's writing. And, I mean, it's still really well written. It's just not Abyss. But Berseria is a game that does a really good job of taking a character archetype and kind of flipping it on its ear. And in this case, Rokuro definitely is that Shonen Jump character who wants to be the best, except he's also legitimately insane.
Yeah, he is a violent monster.
I mean, he's actually crazy. Like, to the point of he was so pissed off that his brother beat him that he turned himself into a demon.
Yeah.
Just through, like, raw rage. And, like, I don't know if you got the skit, but he's the one who manufactured the setup.
Yeah, he made it up.
For Shigure to be in trouble and to give him an excuse to challenge Shigure, like, he's an actual crazy person.
He is a sociopath.
I mean, he's obsessed with one thing to the point of, like, if you got in the way, if a 10-year-old kid gets in the way of you doing this thing, he'll fucking kill this 10-year-old. You know? Like, that's the kind of character Rokuro is, and he feels literally zero shame about having this part of himself. Which is amazing!
Yeah, it's really, really cool for a character to be like that.
It's so good. Oh my god.
It also helps that Rokuro is voiced by Ben Diskin, who does an amazing job.
Oh my god, right?
He absolutely crushes it as this character, and, you know, the whole time I'm just like, oh my god, it's Joseph Joestar and young Xehanort. Yay! Because my dumbass anime fan brain is like, I recognize this voice. It is attached to a character I really enjoy. I like this completely unrelated character more now.
Because you are voiced by this other character who I love. Yeah, I totally feel it. Like, and Ben Diskin just, like, nails it too. He really does do this awesome job of towing the line between fucking crazy and the nicest big brother you've ever known.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Like, his whole thing with, like, Rokuro is a character who's more so than the other party members, is way more defined by his relationships with the other characters than he is about, like, himself and his own actions. Like, his connections with Velvet, Fee, and Shigure are just, like, they really, like, they're what defines him more than, say, like, Velvet's actions define her, and like Aizen's actions and personality, like, is more defined by, like, what he does and what he says. More so with Rokuro, that he's based on how he reacts to other characters existing.
And I think that's intentional because Rokuro is a character is written to not be terribly self-reflective because he lives very much in the moment. Like, Velvet says a line before you go fight at the volcano. She says, brooding doesn't suit you. And she's totally right, because brooding is not in his character. He is not a brooding kind of guy. And because he lives so in the moment, he doesn't really bother with too much self-reflection. So all of his kind of his interesting character development is really more so based on the way other people react to this guy who is so absorbed in a singular goal and is so kind of living in the now that his own considerations for the future and the past are basically irrelevant. Like, he just doesn't care about the future and the past except when it comes to beating Shigure.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's his whole character, is other people kind of reacting to him, especially Eleanor. I think him and Eleanor learning to kind of talk to each other is a really interesting part of Berseria.
Well, yeah, also Eleanor, like, we'll talk more about when we get to her, but, like, Eleanor talking Rokuro helps really is a good representation of her understanding of demons and Malakim in general. And, like, you can see, like, the way she interacts with Rokuro, and as that develops, is reflective of how she reacts to her changing viewpoint of the world itself.
Yeah, exactly. And so Rokuro himself doesn't actually undergo a lot of character development.
No, he really is a lot like Yuri Lowenthal in that regard. Or not Yuri Lowenthal, Yuri Lowell in that regard.
Yeah.
In that Yuri doesn't go through a lot of development, but he encourages other characters to go through it.
Yeah, Rokuro is really more there to act as kind of like a character springboard for everybody else around him. And he gets a little. I mean, he obviously starts to kind of understand his limitations and kind of what beating Shigure means to him. And you know, like, so he does get some, but it's not as dramatic as every other character in this story.
No. Rokuro is the Kamina, but he doesn't die.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly what it is. He's there to kind of spur on other characters' developments, and to basically be the coolest fucking guy you've ever met.
Like, Laphicet is Simone, like, and Rokuro is his Kamina.
For sure. for sure. And he's just, like, even crazier.
Yeah.
and I mean, but Ryokuro has all of the, like, really good scenes and lines.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's got that. He's the only party member that you're forced to play as besides Velvet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like,
awesome.
he gets that distinction.
And it's kind of like they do a good job of kind of giving his backstory and I don't know, it's just really interesting. You get his backstory
in piecemeal format, but it is enough that you're not, like, confused of where you're leaving off and picking back up later in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they do a good job of pacing it out so that you get the full story by the end, and you're like, oh, okay, I see what actually happened now.
And the backstory you get is a really good way to kind of be like, oh, so this is the kind of way you make a crazy person. Like, you know,
yeah.
Rokuro's backstory is basically like, this is how you make a crazy person. Because his whole family's fucking insane.
Yeah, they do a good job of justifying, like, the reason that he is the way he is, and why, he doesn't seem so, like, both him and Shigure don't seem to be, like, that actually, like, necessarily aggressive towards each other in the same way that Velvet and Artorias are.
Yeah.
In that, to Rokuro and Shigure, even though, yes, you know, they're going to kill one of them is going to kill the other, and Rokuro is singularly focused on it, they have much more of a rapport.
Yeah.
Because they both are going into this understanding the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And in a way, and I mean, this will be weird to bring up, but Rokuro is a lot like a much nicer Akuma.
Yeah.
From Street Fighter, in that Akuma isn't evil. He's not a bad guy, and the only times in canon that Akuma has actually killed anyone is in a strict one-on-one duel when both are at their peak physical health and are both understanding that one of us is going to die at the end of this battle.
Right.
And that's what I think Rokuro is a lot like, in that, like, you know, the way he interacts with Shigure is that they both have this understanding and agreement that they both know this is going to end with one of them dying. And the fact that they both accept this creates a very interesting dynamic between them, considering their relationship is more or less the same idea as Velvet and Artorias.
Yeah, totally. Like, they even have, I mean, Rokuro even takes an idea from Velvet when it comes to fighting Shigure, because Velvet runs herself through on Artorias' sword, and Rokuro runs his hand through Shigure's in order to try and land a killing blow. Like, they do a really good job of kind of playing out Berseria does an awesome job of laying out parallels between all of these different characters, and showing how their interactions with each other are affecting each other, and how it's not. It does it. Actually, I know I said that Berseria is not a very subtle game, but every now and then it kind of shows that it can be a little. In things like, you know, Rokuro running his hand through Shigure's sword is like a thing he saw Velvet do. Things like this that kind of show you that these characters are aware of other characters' development, and it's affecting their own. Because sometimes you get the feeling like these characters are all in the same cast, but they're not very affected by each other. You know? Like in other games.
Yeah, like their development kind of is their own thing, and it kind of doesn't really affect the development of the other characters.
Right.
And then, so it's good to see that kind of, like, ripple effect that it can have. And it's just nice. And, like, so yeah, Rokuro doesn't go through a lot of development himself, but, like, the fact that he does encourage it, and the fact that he gets some scenes on his own, you can see him growing that way based on how other characters are also growing, is just a really, really nice thing to see in games like this.
Yeah, it was very smart writing, and it was very, it was just really refreshing to have this character who is so, present focused. Like, he just does not care about the future or the past, like, at all. And so a lot of the kind of the ways that all of the cliche ways you might mess with the character's head don't really exist in this game. You know, like you
Yeah.
can't really embarrass Rokuro because like he doesn't feel a sense of shame. He just kind of goes with it, and so they had to do different things with the situations these characters put in.
He's a very malleable character, and that wouldn't work as a protagonist, but it absolutely does work as a secondary character.
For sure. And he's just, not to reuse the word again, but he's just fucking cool.
So, you know what? To wrap him up, we gotta talk. Dude, the final fight with Shigure, if he's in your party, and Shigure does his mystic art.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I know that you had the same reaction I did, which is you see the cut in, and your thought is, well, shit. Okay, I think I have peach gels. Okay, so I'm just have to survive this. I should be good. I just get to see it, and then Rokuro jumps in and he blocks it, and you're just like, oh my god,
oh my god, oh my god. Yes, to have a character like if you are a Tales person, and if you're listening to this blog or this podcast, you're probably a Tales person. To be a Tales person, and for the first time to have somebody in game cancel a mystic art is the most insane thing because it's never happened. It's like a whole new gimmick.
Yeah, it's something that you've never seen before, and it's something that it's one of those things where like you wouldn't even think of it as a possibility. No. You know?
Like you have no idea, but just to have it actually happen and see it play down, you're like you said, you're thinking, shit, here we go, somebody's gonna get KO'd, this is gonna blow. And then out of nowhere, they even say the same line. It's so cool, because, like, Shigure says, there's no point in trying, because, it'll be the same every time. And then they both say it'll be the same every time when their swords clash, and you're just like, it's so cool.
You know what the really thing of it is that, like, you wouldn't expect it, and specifically, you wouldn't expect it from the protagonist side.
Right.
Like, you would, if you're playing a Tales game and you do your mystic art and the boss cancels it on you,
right,
you would be like, okay, that's, oh shit, this is serious, I can't use my mystic art anymore.
Right.
To have it, like, tip in your favor and you cancel the bosses is, like, unprecedented.
It's unreal to actually have somebody on your party who is capable of canceling out a boss's mystic art. Like, that's so fucking dope. It's so awesome.
Okay, and then one more note. This is more Shigure than Rokuro, but they did the thing with Shigure. They did the Kenpachi thing with Shigure.
Oh my god, they
did.
I
was just like, oh, because I've talked this so many times. How much I love when a character's, like, power-up is not really them getting stronger, it's Rock Lee dropping the weighted ankle bracers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it's my favorite when they're just like, okay, time to stop holding back.
Yes, and God, I don't want to keep using the word, but fuck it, here we are. Shigure is the fucking coolest, right?
Oh, he's the best rival character, like, in a Tales game.
Oh my god.
And he's not even the hero's rival character.
He's just, because he's not evil. He's just kind of a dick,
Like, okay, so we have Ash, who is the worst.
Oh my god, the worst.
Symphonia didn't really have one.
Kratos.
Oh, I mean, I get, yeah.
Kratos is totally the rival
character.
character.
Kratos does kind of count as the rival character, yeah. But so Kratos is really cool. Yuri had Flynn, who was a really cool character. Right. You had Ivor, who was mediocre until X2. Mm-hmm. And then you get Shigure, who isn't even the main character's rival, and he blows all of them out of the water.
Because again, he's not evil, and he's not the protagonist's best friend, and he's not the protagonist's dad. He's just like, he's the side character's asshole older brother who's just really chill about fucking everything. He doesn't care about the bad guy's goals. He doesn't really give a shit about any of it. The only thing he wanted to do was fuck with Artorias. And, like, because of that, he's just really casual about everything. So instead of having this very serious samurai kind of guy, he's just this weirdo walking around without a shirt on, swinging around a big sword, and picking on Rokuro the way a big brother does. And I mean, he literally does pick on him. Like, he's just kind of a bully, you know?
And the only difference is that they want to actually kill each other.
Exactly.
With swords.
With swords, and they succeed. Well, one of them succeeds.
Yeah.
And he goes out like a fucking baller, too.
Oh, God. That was a better dramatic speech than what we got from Artorias.
Oh my god, and how? Because it wasn't dramatic at all. He was just like, good job, little bro.
Yeah.
And then he kicked the bucket, and you actually felt bad for Rokuro, because you're like, oh man, you actually got what you wanted, and it kind of blows, because Shigure is awesome. And it's just like...
Oh, so cool.
Fucking awesome moment. We spent an hour just talking about the first two characters. We're gonna be here a while.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, Laphicet, we already did, like, half of our Laphicet discussion.
Right.
Already.
But now we're going to talk about the best girl, so we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah. There is, before we move on to her, like, I wanted to mention just briefly about Laphicet. Like, really, the only thing we've covered his best moments ever, and how he is a Gainax protagonist, and how he is the coolest, and more kid characters need to be him. I just want to talk really briefly about how weird he is as a gameplay mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
And
totally.
that,
for sure.
What's his role? What class is Laphicet?
I don't actually, I wish... you would think, with my encyclopedic knowledge of Tales games, I would be able to tell you what kind of Moloch Laphicet is.
No, not Moloch. I mean, like...
No, I know.
Velvet's a fighter.
Right.
Velvet and Rokuro are fighters. Aizen is a monk. Magilu is a black mage. Eleanor is a knight.
Right.
What is Laphicet?
I don't know. I mean, I guess he's supposed to kind of be like
a red mage?
I guess, where he
does have a handful of physical.
Mm-hmm.
And he has very limited healing.
Right.
And he doesn't really get the black magic that Magilu does.
Right.
But he's not balanced enough that I would call him a red mage. He really feels a lot like Annis. Like, what's Annis's role? What class is Annis?
Annis is... I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, Laphicet's role in the party is miscellaneous.
It's kind of like he can just kind of do what... I mean, like, he has a really beefy magic attack, like, his art attack is pretty, high.
Yeah, so, but he doesn't learn the spread that Magilu does.
Yeah, I'm actually
like, not even close to it.
I'm looking at his art list right now, and it's kind of like... Yeah, I mean, he gets, like, shadow arts, which is kind of... Like, I guess that's his thing that, like, Magilu doesn't get. So he really is very, Annis, because he gets a lot of shadow arts, and then a handful of other elementals.
Yeah, I'm sure you're sick to death of hearing him go, dark to light, dark and light!
Oh my god, please, shut the fuck up. I mean, I love this game, but... Oh my god.
What's the one that Rokuro spams all the time?
Hurricane?
Hurricane!
Or how about Aizen's fucking, you're wide open 700 times in a fucking fight because his burst is based off of stuns, and so you get a lot of stuns thanks to the nature of Berseria's combat system, which means you're gonna hear Aizen say that about 700 fucking times in one encounter. Oh my god.
Yeah. Now, Tales games in general, like, you get used to... like, I couldn't... When the PS3 version of Symphonia came out, I, like, was shaking when I put it in Japanese. Because I'm like, no, I can't hear they're not saying the right words. No, I need to... And I was... So, like... It's never been as bad as it is in Berseria.
Yes, it has, but you didn't play Legendia. Legendia is the worst offender in the entire franchise. You didn't play it, but literally, Senel's... I actually couldn't play the game because of Senel's shitty, hoo-ha, take that! Over and over and over again. And if anybody out there in Podcastlandia is listening to this, you know what I'm talking about. If you played Legendia, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Senel going, hoo-ha, take that! And, like, with every single one of his, like, you know, your standard old-fashioned Tales game 3-hit attack before going into your art, every single attack was, hoo-ha, take that. Every single one. So yeah, there is one game in the series more egregious than Berseria, but you've never played it. And thank God for that.
Berseria it's still real bad in Berseria.
It can get real bad. It can get real bad sometimes. After a certain point, it all just
hurricane.
Oh my God! It all kinds of turns into white noise after a while, and you're just like,
yeah, it's just static.
I feel nothing. I will just keep playing these battles and pretending I don't hear that. La 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 la, and then you hear it in your sleep.
Yeah. Oh, or what was Eisen's when he casts Quickening?
Forget the pain and move.
Yeah, forget the pain and move.
He says it like 700 times.
Because like half the enemies in the game can cast slowness on you anyway.
Oh my God, and it's the worst.
Yeah.
So you hear it all the time. Oh, game.
It's bad. So
it's so bad. And it never ends ever.
In conclusion, Laphicet is the best character.
I mean, he really is. We can spend a few seconds talking about Laphicet, because he really is the best kid character in the franchise, like 100,000%. And I say this as somebody who would still readily adopt Elise, and or take a bullet for that child. But like honestly, Laphicet is just so good with his I'm so pissed thing, because boy is that a mad child.
And now, it's not even that, but, like, Laphicet is kind of, like, the first kid character we've gotten in the series that is really, like, curious about things. And, like, you know, Genus is already a smart kid.
Right.
And Annis is a brat who doesn't really care about a lot of different things. And, you know, Carol is already, like, very knowledgeable in the world, and he's, you know, knows a lot about guilds and how the world works and etc. And, like, Elise is very shy about things.
Right.
So, Laphicet's the first one, and it really works out with his relationship with Rokuro and Eisen especially, that, like, you know, they get to be big brothers, and he asks them questions, and, a good chunk of the skits revolve around him asking a question, and either Eisen and Rokuro going, no, don't ask that to anyone ever, or giving him a dumb answer.
For sure. And, like, probably one of the better victory battle skits is the one where Laphicet's like, you don't want to make me angry. And Rokuro, of all fucking characters, says, like, apologize for losing your temper. And it's the best. It is amazing. Because, again, it goes back to how awesome Rokuro is. You don't expect him to be that guy saying that. You don't expect Eisen to be the one saying, oh, let him feel cool once in a while. You know? So, like, the play that the three dudes kind of have between each other is really, really fun. Because Rokuro does do a good job of just really messing with Laphicet, and it's really funny to watch his reactions in return. And they do a good job of making Laphicet actually feel like a kid. I don't mean like a little precocious, not like a brat like Annis, you know, but like an actual 10-year-old who's just kind of like, ooh, I want to see, you know, I want to do fun things and see neat things, and I'm gonna fixate on this compass, because boy, do 10-year-old boys really do kind of do that. They're just like, I'm gonna be really obsessed about this one thing, until you're sick to death of it. Like, that's just, that's what 10-year-old boys do. I have 2 younger brothers. I know better than anybody. You know? So, like...
They do a really good job of making him, like, impressionable enough that he is very clearly influenced by the older party. Mm-hmm. But he is still his own person, and he can still make his own decisions, and we get to see a very good natural growth path for him throughout the story, and culminating in the ending of the game.
Right.
And it's just, I put on my notes that here, it's like someone fused Alphonse Elric and Simon the Driller into one character.
It totally is, though, because, like, he is a nice-ass kid, but he's not... I think the coolest thing Berseria managed to do was not turn him into a morality pet, you know?
Yeah, he's very clearly not Velvet's morality pet.
Right.
Like, Velvet will do bad things regardless of whether or not Laphicet is watching.
Exactly. Like, Velvet is still very much like this kind of amoral bitch for a lot of the game, Laphicet being there or not, which is great. I mean, like, you know, so, cause sometimes morality pets can be a total drag on both characters, you know, it's kind of like, well, how serious is this character if they won't act the way they are if a kid is watching, and vice versa. Well, this kid is so innocent that he doesn't, I mean, like, in a real world kind of situation, like, a kid is gonna understand sometimes you have to do shit like this to succeed, you know. And so, like, the morality pet character is like, oh no, but, like, you know, Laphicet is more than a morality pet, you know. He learns that sometimes you gotta make, like, really difficult decisions, and you have to kind of make a decision and deal with the fallout of that decision, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's a good, you know, it's so much better than the morality pet setup, which was, like, again, when they announced him in Velvet, I'm like, oh god, here we go.
Yeah.
But no, we got something way better out of the deal, and I mean, Laphicet gets all the good lines. He gets, would you stop whining? And he gets, you know, a world without you, Velvet, is one I can't stand, and that's the part where I started crying. And you know, he gets to punch the final boss in the face. Come on, how rad is that?
Like,
shut up.
I think that it's really telling the kind of character that Laphicet is when he finds out that Velvet's brother, like, signed up for the sacrifice thing and is now Innominat and is now out to, you know, basically shatter Velvet's entire psyche. The kind of character that he is one that where he reacts in anger.
Yeah.
And not out of, like, concern or sadness for Velvet. His immediate reaction is anger towards the person that's hurting her. Yeah.
Like, and that's a more realistic approach than, I mean, like, yeah, anger and sadness, for sure. That's a lot of people would react like that. But, like, again, as a sibling thing, somebody hurt your older brother or your older sister or your little brother or little sister, and your first immediate reaction is, I'm going to fucking destroy you. You know? Like, this, I mean, like, this game does a lot for me because, again, older sister here, who really likes both of her younger brothers. I mean, you know, they're both idiots, but I love them. And so, like, I totally get it. And it's, again, why Laphicet is so much more relatable. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love this kid. I love this kid! Oh, he's so good. And he gets to drop the I love you, Velvet, at the end of the game. And that is one part where I did get a little... Even, again, like you said, the ending is... Like we were saying, the ending is a little cliche, but he gets to drop the I love you, Velvet at the end of the game. And I'm like...
And you're like, oh...
I know, kid. I know you do, kiddo. You know, it's like that. So, he's a good kid. He's a good bean.
He is. He really is. Good job, kid.
Bean who doesn't get any good costumes. Poor kid.
Well, yeah. Once again, the kid character gets completely shafted in the costume department.
Yeah, it's just not
like,
good.
His Viking outfit is all right, but, like, you can only wear that so often before you're just like, I don't want to see this anymore.
For sure.
And his school outfit, he has those unfortunate pants.
Well, the little shorts are, I mean, I guess it's a Japanese thing, like, I get it, but, like, me, I'm like, no,
but,
they're too short.
Unfortunate. I would call them unfortunate shorts.
Yeah, they're short. They're shorty shorts. His butler costume is pretty cute, but
yeah,
I haven't bought that costume set yet.
I put him in the butler costume a fair amount, and it does look pretty good.
It's cute.
But yeah, his swimsuit actually does look pretty good because he's got the little jacket on.
Yeah.
And he has a little holster he can put crickets in, which I thought was cute.
That is cute. Aw, that's adorable. But his jacket off and his alternate color outfits are the worst.
His default outfit is probably the worst I've seen since Jude.
It's not great. It's a christening gown.
It is a baptism gown, and this poor unfortunate boy is trapped in a dress. And not even a good dress.
It's not even a cute dress.
His jacket off is the absolute worst.
Yeah, because see, what did you say when we were talking about it a few days ago? He went from a baptism gown to a hospital gown. That's totally what it is. Yeah, and it's not good, no matter what.
Because I was like, oh good, jacket off. He'll take off the little robe thing, and he'll be wearing an under outfit of some kind. Oh no, he just takes off the only things that break up his outfit, the color of his outfit. You know, it's like if you take away the red shorts from Superman.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. You're just like, oh god, this looks terrible without anything to break it up.
It's even worse. They somehow managed to find a way to make a bad outfit worse, and his alternate color is literally garbage. I mean, it's garbage green.
It's
not good.
Oh yeah, and he has very few of the legacy costumes are winners. Fuck, Laphicet's is bad.
I don't understand it. I don't get it. Everybody else's I kinda get. I can almost rationalize everybody else's except Laphicet's.
You could have given him Genuses. You could have given him Carols. You know.
You could have given him little tiny versions of what was one I was thinking of the other day, and I thought it was actually a pretty good idea. Shit. I'm totally drawing a blank now. A little tiny version of X2 Jude, you know?
Yeah, that would have looked good too.
You know? And because again, it's kind of like everybody's cameo costumes are kind of vaguely related to their character, Eisen's
very vaguely.
Yeah, I get it. Arsh. I don't actually know how to say her name.
I think it's Arsh.
Is it Arsh? Arsh is a mage like Magilu, and Ruti is the cool battle girl like Velvet, and Natalia and Eleanor are both the lawful good type, and Rokuro's is more literal because it's a dead.
Yeah, and Rokuro also, he needs something to be his sword, so he gets the hammer.
Yeah.
Which I really did like that touch for all of Rokuro's outfits, that they had a equivalent of Stormbringer, or not Stormbringer. Stormquell, yeah.
They
had some kind of
equivalent.
Yeah, some kind of unique item to give him that would so when in cutscenes when he had to use it, it would be there.
Right. And then I just don't we just had a conversation about this. I hate Tales of Grace's designs. They're the worst in the entire franchise. And so Aizen's is bad, and Laphicet's is bad. Aizen's is almost awful. Honestly, Aizen's is probably the worst because big stretch it's the same reason why Alvin's Kratos costume just doesn't fucking work, because those costumes were made to fit on little tiny SD character models, so all of those big stretches of blue and or purple that are on these costumes are compressed, you know? So it's not so aggressively one color, but then when you put it on a human proportioned model, you're suddenly really aware of boy, there is a lot of blue in this design. You know? And it's really bad. Aizen's is definitely the worst, with Laphicet as a close second. And surprise, they're both from Tales of Graces.
Yeah.
Neither makes sense. I get it. Hubert is kind of a nerd, and Aizen is definitely a fucking nerd. Like, I get it, for sure. But it still sucks. And nothing about Laphicet's makes any fucking sense, because Richard is just an asshole.
Yeah, like, I don't... And I wish I would have gotten it, but he does get Laffy's outfit somehow. It's in the game somewhere. I went back and forth to a ball over and over again. I'm like, how do I fucking get this outfit? And there aren't any guides out yet, because no one bothered to put it online yet. And I'm just like, I want to get that so I can at least have something tolerable to put him in.
I know. Maybe someday. But
his fucking Alice outfit, his White Rabbit outfit, is a disaster too.
It's too much color. It's so bad. None
It's
of them
so
are
tacky.
good. It's so tacky. None of them are good. This poor kid. Somebody help him. Somebody please put him in some decent fucking clothes. So yeah. I guess if we could get the winter clothes, that would be cute.
Yeah. I got his little coat, and that looks pretty nice because he gets the hood with it.
Oh, that's
so
cute.
he's just bundled up Kenny style.
That's cute. Okay, I need to get it.
Yeah.
That's adorable. But anyway.
Now speaking of tacky.
Yes, best girl, 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 best girl,
Maggie,
best girl,
Maggie,
best girl, best girl.
Maggie Lou Maven is probably the funniest character Tales has ever had.
Best girl.
She's a fucking treat. Oh my god. And
Isn't she a delight?
I want to start off with the Maggie Lou's Menagerie skits.
Oh, they're so good.
Like, the audience who kept booing their acts, fuck you. Those are hilarious. Like, again, I was like, oh god, these are gonna be the cringiest, like, things ever. Mm-hmm. But, no, each one is just, like, comedy gold, because it totally works. That, you know, it's the failing comedy act that just falls apart, and two characters who can't get on the same page, and watching them try to figure things out is hilarious.
Honestly, Rokuro's is definitely the best.
Oh my god, where he starts talking about fish the whole time?
Yes! Oh my god,
that fucker.
It's so good! That fucker! It's so funny! Like, it is genuinely, like, I was genuinely in stitches in so many of those. But Rokuro's is honestly the best, because I like that Rokuro is manages to be weirder than Magilu. So when he's talking, she's actually the one kind of like weirded out by him, and it's a great comedy bit. It's hysterical.
It's funny. Fuck everyone. Fuck those
people.
Like agents who were like, "Well, your act stunk." I'm like, did you watch it? Like, did you pay attention to the subtlety of the humor?
It's comedy brilliance. What is wrong with you? I could have a whole game of this.
That picture of Chowder holding up the book, comedy gold.
Totally. But that said, I love this character. I love this girl. She's so funny. She's such a shit. I mean, like, she's totally useless for, like, she's my favorite kind of, like, man, we're traveling with this character, but they can't fight with us yet. You know, like, when, like, Elise was, like, a guest party member, but she wasn't actually fighting with you yet. It was like, oh, she's a little girl, and she doesn't know how to fight. We can't let her join the fight, and then she proves that she can. Right? No! That's not how Magilu works. Everybody goes, you want to help us fight? And she goes, nah.
No. Nah, I'd help, but I don't wanna.
But I don't wanna. Like, awesome. The best character. She's just
she's so funny.
She's funny. And the bit where she gets Bienfu back is probably one of the funniest scenes in the whole fucking series.
Oh my god, yes.
Right? Like, the bit where, like, you know, Laphicet is holding Bienfu, and he's like, oh, it's cute. And then you just see, like, this horrible shadow monster that is angry Magilu, like, rising up above this child, glinty eyes and all, is comedy brilliance. It's so funny. She's
wacky. She is, I had the word. She's, like, a goofball. She is, very aggressive. Mm-hmm. She's not stupid, though.
Oh, God.
Which is, like, Which is, like, very surprising that she's not the dumb one of the party.
But the great thing is, there isn't a dumb one.
Yeah, there really isn't.
I think we talked about this last week. But there is not a party idiot. Like, Rokuro is a doofus, but he's still really smart. But, like, everybody is super, super smart.
Yeah, we don't have the, like, Lloyd or Luke or,
fucking Raven.
Or Leia, Raven, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the characters who are, like, goofy and kind of dumb about things.
Yeah, you know? Like, we just don't have a party, like, idiot. We just have... Everybody kind of knows what's going on. Like,
everything Magilu does is she's self-aware of what she's doing.
Yeah, she knows she's being an idiot.
Yeah.
Or she's being an asshole. And, I mean, it's great. She's so, like, her moments of, like, genuine seriousness are some of the best in the game. Like, 100%
she has
some
such
of the
great...
best.
Like, I can't remember any of them specifically, but, like, the way she, like... the way she talks, like, especially her word choice... is, like, so good. And my second playthrough, right? I'm going to try to memorize some of those lines, because, like, I know she has some pretty stellar lines.
She has some good lines. She has some great lines. Like, her comedy lines are good, because I love, you know, like, Magilu, or, no, Magilu, you know, like, Doggy Poo, or, what was the other one she said? I can't remember. She says something like, you know, like Magilu, like Doggy Poo, and if you call me any of that, I'll turn you into a froggy stew. Is so funny. Like, that whole scene is so funny, and all of her, like, serious lines, like the one in the boat where she says something like, can you resist happiness?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's good.
Now that I think about it, I wish they would have kept it up. They kind of had it going for, like, a little bit. I wish they would have kept up her rhyming thing.
Oh, I know. I wish she would have rhymed more often, because it was so cool and so funny. Like, it
was a cool little quirk.
It was a fun quirk, and I mean, like, you know, she doesn't have to rhyme all the time, because that would get annoying. Haha, rhyme all the time. But that would get annoying.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, every now and then, just, you know, rhyme a little is really fun.
Like, but enough to make it, like, a solid, like, character part of her, you know?
But I guess it's kind of hard when you're also busy translating a game, so I'm gonna give him a pass this time, because Japanese is a stupid language. So, and I mean, you know, translating from Japanese to English, which is another stupid language, it's just not fun. So I'm gonna give him a pass, but still, it would have been fun. But God, oh my God, the one part, again, at the end of Act 2. I
was literally just about to say, like, we're going to spend our next 20 minutes talking about her end of Act 2 bit.
Oh my God.
Which is just, like, fuck, dude, fuck.
Right? Fuck. Just fuck. I have no words for it, because up until that point, she had been kind of like the occasionally serious, but still mostly kind of just an asshole, and, like, sometimes her flippancy could almost grate on your nerves, because you're like, this is actually kind of serious, Magilu. So, like, her flippancy can kind of get to you, and you think, like, okay, she really just doesn't care about these characters, and you kind of start to think that, and then you get to the end of Act 2, and you're like, oh, she loves them.
She absolutely adores these people to death.
She literally to death, as in she would literally die to hold the line for them, and you're just like, oh my God, that's beautiful.
Like, it's so great, because, for one thing, she doesn't know what state they're in.
Yeah, she has no idea.
She doesn't know if they're alive, or dead, or wounded, or when they're going to show up, and she is prepared to hold that line indefinitely.
Because she knows Velvet well enough to know that Velvet is going to come out of that portal eventually. Like, as much as she jokes, you know, I bet you 100 gold you break, she knows she won't. Like, Magilu knows that Velvet is never going to give up. Even before Velvet knows that about herself, Magilu knows that Velvet is going to come out on top. So when she's facing Melchior down, you know, in that floating island thing, like, she knows these people are going to come out of this portal and they're going to save my ass, and because I believe in them. And it's power of friendship done right, damn it. They did power of friendship right in this game, and it's the only way to do it where you never actually say the words friendship, okay? Ever. But you just know that these people that you are traveling with, that you have put all of your faith in, are gonna back your ass up when the chips are down. It's the best scene in the game, and it's literally the theme of the whole fucking game. It's like, that right there is like, oh, it's so good.
It's so good. Like, and she gets some real choice lines in there, and it's like, fuck you, old man, you know?
It's such
fuck you, Dad. You can't tell me who my friends are.
It's such a major, like, finger to just, you know, all of the bad guys' ideals, which are like, you know, we can rid ourselves of human emotion and live perfectly rational lives. And, like, what she's doing is super, super irrational, and she knows it, and Melchior knows it, and she knows it's stupid, and she doesn't give a shit. Because, like, that's how people are supposed to live, is, like, irrationally. Like, that's human nature, is to be irrational idiots sometimes. And so she doesn't want to deny that about herself the way Melchior does. And it's why she failed as his apprentice, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, and it's like, again, I don't mean to bring this up twice in one podcast, but again, she feels a lot like that scene in DBC Abridged where Nail is stalling Frieza. Mm-hmm. And the part where, like, after he's been beaten down, he's just laughing, and he's like, the humans have the Dragon Balls. Yeah. Like, after Frieza's wasted, like, an hour fighting him.
Right,
and, like, that's what it felt like with Magulu, is she's just stalling them, and she's laughing because she knows that she is winning by keeping him at bay.
Yeah, by keeping him busy, she knows she's winning, and it's just the bit where Velvet is like, are you sure you're okay to fight? And she's like, are you kidding me? I've got some aggression to work out. I just lost a bet. And I'm like, I love you.
And the part where she won't even admit what happened, even though everyone knows what happened.
Totally, because, like,
she's
again,
like, no, we just exchanged some mean words.
Yeah, totally. And it's like that's the whole point of her character, is that she asked Velvet at one point, what does it feel like to hate? And because she doesn't know, she doesn't really feel anything. She's kind of like become the definition of, like, the like, you know, that apathetic Tales character.
It's implied that she literally doesn't have emotions anymore.
It's really more so that she's been, like, her heart has been broken so severely by the way Melchior treated her that she just can't even remember what it feels like to care about something. And then here comes Velvet and Co. and they remind her, and it's kind of why they're so important to her, is that, you know, they remind her of what it felt like to feel.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's beautiful.
Oh, beautiful. She's the best. She's just. How old is she?
I'm gonna say like 100 years old. Sure. I guess that works. You know, it doesn't. I mean, nobody really knows. That's the thing. She kind of keeps it intentionally vague.
All I wanted just one scene where, like, she calls, like, a clearly adult male, like, or a scene where what's her name, Tabitha. Like, a scene where Magulu slips and calls Tabitha young lady.
Oh my god, right?
Like, I wanted, like, that to happen and be like, wait, what? What?
Excuse me? Yeah. Like, I totally wanted that. But she says, she does say at one point, like, some old lady stuff.
Yeah. Well, every so often she'll get, like, a little old lady, like, quirk to her, and you're like, wait, is she? Hello? And then you find out that Melchior is artificially extending his age, and you're like, well, if she was one of his top students, then it's very likely that she... Wait. How old is she?
And the answer is really fucking old, and she lives for a really long damn time, too. And it's just... I mean, I really love her side story where she intentionally just screws with Magulu.
Yes!
It's
the
so
Magulu
funny.
thing is just like... Oh, she's great.
She's the best character, and I love her mystic arts because they're so fucking ridiculous.
I
love
her mystic arts just smack them really, really hard.
It's great. I mean, it's hilarious. I love comedic mystic arts done right. And Magulus are the best. I mean, actually, no.
I didn't get to see her level 2.
You never got to see it?
No, the only level 2s I've seen are Rokuro's and Aizen's because I didn't figure out how to pull off the other ones.
I've never seen.
No, I've seen Eleanor's.
Yeah, because she gets less phone drive.
Yeah, Eleanor, Rokuro, and Aizen I've seen, but like I didn't get to see the other 3.
I've pulled off Velvet's. I've seen Aizen's. I think I've seen Rokuro's. Yeah, I've seen it, but only like once.
Yeah.
He doesn't use his level 2 a lot. But I've seen Magilu. She uses hers fairly recently. I've never seen Laphicet's. And I've seen Eleanor's a handful of times. And boy, does hers hit fucking hard or what?
Yeah. Yeah, goddamn.
Goddamn, girl, chill. But Magilu's is pretty cute. Hers are all really good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, like, oh, she's so good. She's definitely best girl. Like, 100% best girl. She's so funny.
She is the star, like, the shine out character, the breakout character of Berseria.
Except for the next one.
Like, oh yeah, the next one, Aizen.
Aizen, who is literally coolness embodied, right?
We talk a lot about how Rokuro is the coolest. Like Aizen's fucking, he's so goddamn cool. Again, he's just cool. He's cool in that dumb little kid way where you're like, oh man, look at he's doing the cool thing with his attacks, and oh boy, he's punching things real good, and he's got a cool coin, and he is a pirate man. Yay!
He has a cool long jacket, and he has a cool coin flip gimmick, and he has a cool fighting style, and
he does the thing where he shakes his hand before he gets into his fighting stance, and you're just like, ah!
I mean, like, it's just, like, coolness embodied. But somebody joked once that, like, a good chunk of Tales of Berseria could be summed up with just, Aizen is cool. Like, Aizen is just cool. Like, he just is, like, even when he's being, like, a dweeb, he's still really just chill about it. Like, he knows he's a fucking nerd, and he's totally fine with it. So, like, even that makes his character cooler, you know? Like,
I mean, I put this at the top of our notes, but Dempsey roll. His mystic art is a fucking Dempsey roll, and it's
he
just
uses it all of the time, and it never gets old ever.
I'm like, he can use it like 3 times in a battle, and I'm like, where are you getting these BGs? Like, how are you stacking them this quickly?
Oh, because again, his burst can become fucking broken really fast. Because if you stack...
And the computer's good at breaking it.
Yes, because if you stack enough skills that, like, increase the amount of BG you get from using your burst, it means that every time Aizen uses his burst, he can fill the Gorge with 1 burst use, right? So, like, because of the nature of Berseria's combat system, which is based entirely around stuns, and Aizen can only use his burst on stunned enemies, that means that he can use it pretty much 5 or 6 times in a fight. And that means that he can constantly open battles with his mystic art because he can, because he's got the reserves for it. Because why not? You know?
It's almost stupid.
It's almost stupid, but it's pretty rad. It doesn't quite toe into stupid because it's just fucking dope. Because Dempsey rolls are cool, and Dempsey rolls that are preceded by a coin flip are even cooler. Ah!
And he does the cool catch at the end, and you're just like, oh.
So rad. I mean, you spend the whole game
fucking
just thinking,
cool.
like... I mean, like, so much of, like... It's like, boy, we can have these deep conversations about these characters, and then Aizen, you're just like, cool.
Aizen's just... I mean, you could turn Aizen from a pirate, you could turn him into a cowboy too, if you give his jacket off and you put him in the cowboy hat, and now he's a cowboy, and you're like, he's so cool.
Awesome. And, like, his jacket off is the best one in the whole fucking game.
It's the best one in, like, well, no, because Jude's jacket off is really, really good. But...
I'll dispute that one, because Jude's jacket off has that dumb typo drawing on the back.
Yeah, but it looks like a band t-shirt.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I still think Aizen's is cooler.
Aizen's is super fucking cool, no matter what. Like, Aizen's is great. Like,
it's just good, because it's still, like, a lot of other jacket-off costumes, their major problem is they don't look like finished costumes, because technically they're not. Aizen's jacket off costume still looks like a costume that any other Tales character would wear normally, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it just looks like a thing that, like, if Aizen had just been introduced never wearing the big long jacket, you'd be like, cool, that's a totally normal Tales character design right there, right?
Mm-hmm, exactly, yeah.
Which is why it's so good. And it's so... And, like, just the fighting style is awesome, and just kind of the way he approaches things is just really interesting, and it's really nice to have a character in the game who isn't just book smart, because Aizen is super book smart because he's 1,000 years old. He kind of has no choice but to be book smart. He's also just really savvy, you know?
Yeah, exactly. He's a very wide... He's got high int and high whiz.
Exactly, because, I mean, again, he's 1,000 years old. He knows when Eleanor is trying to pull some shit. You're not gonna trick anybody, girl.
Yeah.
You know? Like...
No one in this game, like, at no point does anyone hold the idiot ball.
Nobody ever holds the idiot ball. In fact, the villains hold the idiot ball more often than the good guys do. And it's great. At no point does anybody do anything... I mean, like, people, they do reckless things, for sure, but the reckless things they do are smart, reckless things. And they
exactly.
pay off. And Aizen is kind of like the embodiment of that smart recklessness.
This game is very much proof that you can write a compelling story and have bad things happen without having your characters, without having your heroes fall into a weakness that the villains can exploit.
Exactly, for sure.
Like, in that regard, like, yes, they do reckless things, and yes, they are chaotic, and yes, they occasionally run things, you know, at no point do they ever do anything and screw it up due to lack of planning, you know?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But things still go bad for them, and that's, like, I think one of the most compelling ways, like, storytelling ways like that, especially in an action series like this, is when you have characters who are able to put their full effort into things and not screw things up, and then still lose because the villains are that powerful.
Yeah, like, that's a way more... For one, you're not frustrated by it in the way that you are when characters are just holding the idiot ball, like you said. See Tales of the Abyss, where everybody is holding the idiot ball because nobody talks to each other.
Yeah, everyone gets a pass at that.
Yeah,
because
everybody in Abyss.
This game, and Aizen's really, really good for this too. One of the worst things to ever happen in any Tales game is it's nothing.
Oh god, it's the worst thing ever.
But we have all these characters, like, and especially Aizen, because Aizen is the older one who is more aware of what's going on in the world and is more savvy about all these things. If something catches Aizen's eye, he'll tell you that something is weird, because he has no reason to hide things. He's secretive about his sister, but only to a point, and that's because he's just trying to keep her safe. And he doesn't want to get her involved in things, so it's better off to just not really talk about her.
Right. And it's not like Edna is monstrously plot important. She's just Aizen's little sister. It's not like you need to know anything about Edna to know the story. Like, so he just kind of keeps Edna a secret for her own sake, and because it's really nobody else's business. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, like that's a normal thing, you know? Like, that's a very, like, normal reaction, you know? Like, I don't have to tell you about my personal life if it's not vastly important, because it's not your business, you know? Like, that's awesome. The only time Aizen ever pulls an it's nothing is the whole malevolence thing, and that is, like, a huge secret from the world, you know?
Yeah,
like,
that's something that he's really not able to talk about in general. He's not hiding that for his own, to keep, you know, to save face or to protect himself. He's doing it because he's not really able to do it to anyone ever.
Because, like, all Moloch kind of swore an oath to never talk about it. That's just the nature of the world they live in. So in that case, the it's nothing thing doesn't really count. Because, you know... And eventually, I mean, pretty damn quickly, as soon as you kind of realize, like, wait a minute, this Demon Blight stuff isn't Demon Blight. Like, as soon as shit goes weird, Aizen's like, yeah, I'm gonna spill. And, you know...
because he's put up against the one, he's like... He does it before it becomes a problem.
Before it's a huge fucking problem, Jade.
Yeah. Jade, Colette, Rain.
You fuckers. It's so bad. Because that is what makes Berseria's story really, really good, is the whole... Nobody holds the idiot ball. Everybody talks to each other. And these are people who don't do the whole friendship thing. They just kind of tolerate each other, but secretly love each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you'd expect a crew like this would be more inclined to not tell each other what the fuck is going on, because, they're like, I don't like that person. Why would I tell them that? Because they have common sense.
In a way, it's also kind of because, they all want to get this over with.
Oh, yeah.
So, they don't have a reason to hide it because they just want to be done. It's a very business-like relationship they have for the most part, where it's just yeah, we want to get this done, so here's my cards. Those are your cards. All right, well, good. Now we can be an efficient machine.
And they are. They are a very, for the most part, a very damn efficient machine. They're always, they're not, the bad guys have the bad guys are one step ahead of them, but not because the crew holds an idiot ball, like you said. It's because the bad guys just know more. It's not even...
Yeah, the bad guys are just that much stronger.
Yeah, they just have more knowledge on their side. The good guys had no idea that it wasn't the amount of malevolence that Innominat needed, but the types. They had no idea of ever knowing that, you know?
Yeah.
There's nothing they could have done to learn that. Even the books that they found doesn't really kind of specify that. So they were doing what they could. They were doing what they thought was the best steps, and it wasn't a stupid plan. It was a pretty smart little plan. And they were. Go ahead. Okay,
No,
and
you
I
first.
said they were only undone because they just didn't know. You know, they had no idea. They had no way to know. And
They acted with as much information as they could, and they only acted after they had learned everything they possibly could. And they had no way of knowing that there was additional information attached to it.
Right. And in fact, that was really cool, the fact that, they stay in, not Isolt. Why am I drawing a blank on that name?
The other beach town that gets wiped out.
The other beach town.
The unfortunate town.
Yeah, they stay there for 2 days, just kind of hanging out because they want all of the information, you know? That's cool. That's smart. That's really smart.
It's really good.
It's man, the temple is right up the road and we could go there and charge in and do whatever the fuck we want, but instead we're gonna sit here and hang out at the beach for 2 days and let Laviset and, Grimoire. Let them translate the book out so that we know as much as we can. That's really smart.
Yeah.
You know? Good for them. Good for fucking them that they did the right thing. It's all JRPGs should be like this.
Yes, exactly.
Where the idiot ball never comes into play. Ever.
Where you aren't frustrated by characters doing reckless things because It's one thing if characters are not given correct information and they have no reason to doubt what they're given, and their actions are based on what they know at hand, and they make a rational decision that just happens to be based on false information or incomplete information that they thought was complete. It's another thing to have characters just go off half-cocked and screw up plans and whatnot, because of they let their emotional side take over, or they let their whatever cloud their judgment, and you're no, stop it. If you had just listened, if you had just talked to each other,
if somebody had just had a fucking conversation, we wouldn't be in this situation. And everybody in Berseria talks to each other, and it's pretty good. It's really nice. It's so refreshing. Yeah. Especially Eisen and Velvet's super dope friendship.
Yeah, their weird connection, their weird bonding over being smart people about things, and forming a sort of private council where they are kind of more or less the decision makers of the party because they're just smarter.
Yeah, and nobody really minds them being the decision makers of the party because they're just smarter.
Yeah.
it's really interesting. Actually, one of the most interesting things I think I really liked about Aizen and Velvet's relationship, and about Aizen as a character, is that Aizen, routinely told Velvet, like, hey, if you can't keep doing this, I will do it without you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he had enough stake in this, like, for his own sake, and for the fact that, other people of his kind were slaves. Like, he had enough dogs in this fight that if Velvet wanted to back out and, like, say, stay at a ball, then he was just gonna keep doing it without her. Like, he was just... And the thing is, you're like, yeah, he probably could. It would be a whole hell of a lot harder without Velvet, but, like, he would still make the effort.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to kind of have that, because of the fact that Aizen was just as invested in what was going on as Velvet. That whole council thing they had going on between them that you mentioned felt more, like, legit,
Now, it's kind of interesting, because you mentioned this early on, is that you're happy that Velvet is the protagonist that doesn't have to share the role with another character. But, in a way, with just a few little tweaks, Aizen could have been the protagonist of Berseria.
Oh, totally. Without a doubt. He really could be, and the only reason he's not is because, I think having a Moloch protagonist would be too overpowered.
Yeah, you're probably right, but, like, it really, like, it wouldn't take much of the story. It would really, literally would have just taken a perspective flip.
Yeah, totally.
And if you would just the camera had followed behind Aizen instead of Velvet, you could have gotten basically the exact same emotional weight behind most of the game.
You would have gotten a lot of the same story beats, and the only thing that would have changed was some of the emotional investment from having this whole story be about, like, Velvet and her siblings. But yeah, Aizen was along from the ride from the word go, basically. 5 hours into the game, he's joined the party. And that's really nice, is to have another person in the party who's just as smart as the protagonist, who really is invested in seeing this thing through right. And it's just, again, we keep going back to it. It's so nice to have a party who aren't a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there is one final thing for Aizen.
What's that?
And that is, hey, do you get it? Aizen is going to turn into a dragon in the previous game. Hey, dragon.
Fuck you, fight me. I love his dragon motif.
Do you see that he will become a dragon man?
Fight me. It's fucking dope.
Look at... Do you get it?
I get it.
Do you get it?
It's awesome. Shut up. It's so cool.
No, the worst part, to me the worst, and, like, it's an emotional line, and I get it, it's significant, but the worst is when he literally says the line, I'm going to be a dragon in the next game.
Oh, I know.
Like, he basically just looks at the camera and says, I am the Aizen you fought in the last game.
Oh my god.
It's me.
It's me, motherfucker. And
Do you see all of my dragon-based arts?
And dragon motifs, and the dragon design on the back of his jacket, and even his burst is dragon-themed, because it's got, like, the wings thing going on. And his second mystic art, which is the coolest thing in the entire universe, is also dragon themed. It's in fact called Draconic Drive. I could keep going. And the fact that, like, his whole side story is based around a dragon that he has to kill out of mercy. Kind of like how you gotta, like Zavid's whole side story in Berseria.
Yes.
Is
like
about...
what Zavid has to do in the previous game. Do you get it?
Do you get it?
It's so... Like we've said, though, Berseria is not a game about subtlety.
It's not a terribly subtle game, but in this one instance, I will fight the universe. I think it's the coolest fucking shit in the universe.
Dragon motifs are cool. They're
awesome.
They're really cool, but holy shit, it's so blatant.
It's so blatant. It's just really reminding you.
The weird thing about it is that a lot of them are choices that Eisen had to make about himself. Like, he chose the jacket with the dragon on it. Mm-hmm. He named all of his arts after dragon things. Like, it's not like dragons happened to him. He sought them out to be this man. I love it.
Go fuck yourselves, Namdai, because I didn't need to be constantly reminded. My one fucking problem with the whole shit is that, like, okay, so, like, you haven't played this part in Zestiria, but I'm gonna tell you about it anyways, because it's not, like, a plot spoiler, it's just a thing. The scene before you go fight Eisen, like, the dragon, in Zestiria, and it's a totally, it's an optional thing. You don't have to do it, but you should do it because it's closure. The scene before you go fight Eisen at the Rayfalk Spirit Crest in Zestiria is probably one of the most emotionally wrenching scenes in any Tales game ever. Like, it's only a few steps behind, like, the Tower of Rem and the end of Act 2 in Berseria, because it involves Edna just having a complete... And I mean, you know, Edna's like the rude little sarcastic stoic, you know, little girl character, right? Mm-hmm. It involves Edna having like the most painful breakdown ever because they realize they're about to go murder her brother because there is no other option. And it's horrible. I mean, it's like the fucking worst. And so, like, every time this fucking game reminded me, like, hey, this asshole's gonna be a dragon someday. Hey, this asshole hasn't visited his sister in like a billion fucking years. Hey, he's gonna be friends with Zavid someday. I'm just sitting here staring at this game like, you motherfuckers. Do you think you're being funny right now? Do you think this is a fucking game? Namdai? Are you even considering my emotions right now? I'm only human, you bastards. It's horrible. It's the worst to be, like, constantly reminded of the fact that you're just gonna be, like, you're just gonna be in a disaster someday. Mm-hmm. It's so sad. And, like, you know, that bullshit foreshadowing time when Laffy asks Eleanor, am I and Eisen gonna turn into a dragon one day? And I'm just like, you bastards. You bastards. Because that's exactly what happens to both of them. It's bullshit. Kill me now.
I know. It's so blatant that it's funny is the thing.
It is so blatant and it is funny. And sometimes it's not funny. And like, but you gotta know, Namdai, the whole time they're doing this shit, they think it's hilarious. They're in the writer's room coming up with all of this, and they're like, haha, this is gonna be awesome. You know? Like, fuck you guys. I don't deserve this pain, okay? I'm a good person. I've bought all of your games, even the shitty ones. I don't deserve you doing this to me. But...
okay. So, speaking of good people who didn't deserve it, we have one final party member.
Yeah, it was a good segue. Way to go.
Yeah, we're nailing these segues sometimes.
Yeah, we're awesome at this. Yeah, one more.
But Eleanor is also just... She rounds out the party and is a very much needed character for this group.
Someone please help this girl.
Eleanor is going to go gray by 35.
For sure. Oh, 100%. Like, yeah. She's just gonna be an old lady way early before her time. Because she basically spends a huge portion of this game having her morals stomped all over on by every single party member, including the kid character.
Yeah.
And it's great. It handles it really, really well, actually.
Again, it's the thing where no one holds the idiot ball, and that no one is fooled by Eleanor's acts. even to the point where Eleanor knows that they are not fooled by the way she's acting.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, like...
The scene where she comes clean is not really so much of a confession as it is a confirmation for her.
Right.
You know? Because she's like, Artorias told me to spy on you guys and bring Laphicet. And they're like, yeah, okay. Figured something was up.
Yeah.
And there's no scene where, like, Velvet tries to kick her out or, like, says whatever, or, like, says, like, I knew this was going to happen, so now we have to confrontation about it. She's like, yeah, okay, well, you're not going to do it anymore, so cool.
Yeah.
All right,
so
problem
it's not a big
solved.
deal. Yeah. Like, there's that bit, like, I really thought they were gonna fucking do it, and I was just, like, rolling my eyes so hard the whole time. When they're, in, Logris, and they're talking, like, Laphicet is sitting outside of the bar with Eleanor while everybody else is talking to the Bloodwings. And, Abbey HQ is right there in Logris, and she's all alone with Laphicet, and you're thinking, like, boy, they're gonna go for it. We're gonna have to go rescue... We're gonna have to go rescue Laphicet from the fucking Abbey HQ or whatever, and it's gonna be this big deal because Eleanor betrayed them, and, they all were starting to trust her, so they let her guard down, and blah, 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 and it doesn't happen because Eleanor has common sense.
You're like, I've played Tales games before.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's going to go this way, and then it doesn't. Where, you see it, she has the temptation where she's like, I know where I am, they're literally just leaving me alone with Laphicet. I could do it right now. And there's no even conflict, no internal conflict for her. She just doesn't do it.
Because she, at this point in the story, because she's not holding the idiot ball, she knows for a fact, man, Artorias is in the wrong here, and I can't hand over Laphicet
or again,
be wrong.
At the very least, it's not, maybe it's that she doesn't trust Artorias, it's that I have enough reasons to suspect him that I need more information before I make a decision.
Amazing.
It's
amazing. Who knew?
Wow. Thank you, video game. You put the temptation there. You gave us that tension. You cut the scene away from, you had her they even had the audacity to put that line where Laphicet's like, boy, howdy. Shucks howdy, I really want to go explore the city with ya, Eleanor. You're my friend, Eleanor. I want to go hang out with you and have a good fun time around the city.
Because
Eleanor's
totally won't betray me.
Yeah. And Eleanor's like, God help me now. And Eleanor's over there sweating bullets, oh.
It'd be so easy.
And then they cut the, she's doing that image of the guy wiping the sweat off his face,
Yeah, totally.
And then it cuts away, and the other 4 party members are talking to Tabitha about blah-de-blah-de-blah, and it cuts away, and it's nighttime, and what do you see? They're still there.
They're still just chilling by the fountain,
Yep.
And you're just like, oh my god, we don't have to do this. I can't believe it.
We don't have to raid the headquarters again. We're gonna skip this dungeon.
We're gonna skip this fucking shit and just keep on going with the storyline. Eleanor is gonna have some common goddamn sense about things, and we don't have to worry about this stupid crap anymore. Thank you, video games. You did something right with Eleanor Hume. Because she's great, and she does smart things even when she's acting being kind of a space case. But, she gets all of the good... so many of her skits are so funny because she is kind of a space cadet, but not, stupid. She just doesn't know certain things, and
she just
really
doesn't
awkward.
really get the rest of the party, Bart. She doesn't get the rest of the party.
No,
It's like when you hang out with someone and you don't quite get their sense of humor, they're being funny about things, but you're like, I don't quite get the joke of it. It's, and so you can relate with them and you can talk to them, but you're just like, I don't quite get where you were going with that.
Right. But probably one of the funniest skits in the entire game is where she muses at length about fixing Velvet's clothes.
Yes.
And all of the party members are kind of drifting in and out of her, out behind her.
Yeah, watching her talking and then, deciding, I don't really want to deal with that part right now.
They're like, no, this is not something I want to handle. And they all just kind of like go off and do their own thing. And Eleanor's still just like talking to herself, like, should I fix Velvet's clothes? And Velvet handles it so beautifully. Like, she doesn't act super rude. She's just kind of more like, why are you worrying about this? What is wrong with you? And then she just kind of is like, no, it's fine, Eleanor. Go chill. It's okay. And Eleanor's like, okay, I'll go chill. And it was perfect. It's so
this poor girl is
funny.
going to have a heart attack.
Someone help this girl. Someone help Eleanor Hume, because God knows she needs it. They come so close so many times to like almost breaking her spirit. And it's literally just the sheer factor that she has such a strong spirit at all is what keeps it from happening.
Now, the one thing I will say, and this is one of those weird things where I'm like, why didn't you do the thing that I wanted you to do? But like, in a game like this, which is very non-subtle about everything, and it's very in your face about it, and there's very high-strung emotions, I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't really get the moment that I expected would happen, which is the scene where Artorias is just like, yeah, you don't matter. You were a means to an end, and I don't actually care one bit about you.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted that crushing moment for Eleanor.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like the way it was kind of leaning towards, where Artorias is like, I need you to bring Laphicet to me. And, you know, I wanted that moment where, like, you know, they confront about that, and he brings that up to the rest of the party when the rest of the party's around, and he's like, I'm disappointed that you couldn't even do this one job. You're the worst.
But at the same time, I think that's almost too cliche, and I get why they didn't do it.
It is, you're right.
Because the way they handled it instead was way better, I think, by having it be a confrontation between her and Velvet instead. Because, I mean, a big part of Eleanor and Velvet's tension, or a big part of kind of like the tension in the story, in the party, was between Eleanor and Velvet. And the fact that Eleanor was still like, well, I think what the Abbey is doing is wrong, but I still think Lord Artorias has the right intention, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so she never... I mean, it's a really frustrating thing to tell somebody something happened to you, and they either try to dismiss it and tell you, no, it didn't happen, so you feel like you're being gaslighted, or they try to downplay it and say, well, it must have happened for a reaon, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like when something awful happens to you and say, well, everything happens for a reason. Well, fuck you. Not everything happens for a reason. Sometimes things just hurt. So, like, the scene in the and again, it's such a powerful scene because it's the fucking basement cell where Artorias locked his sister-in-law that he helped raise. For 3 years, he kept her locked in what was basically a hole and only fed her monsters. I mean, this is literally, he raised Velvet after Celica died, and he did something that fucked up to his own family for the sake of, like, his perfect world. So to have Velvet literally confront Eleanor in, like, this lightless hole where she, like, that was her life for 3 years was, like, a huge, powerful moment.
It was. You're right. And again, like I said before, it's like, it's not that, like, it's one of those weird things where I'm like, why didn't you do the thing I wanted you to? It's not really a fair criticism at all.
Right.
But I'm just like, I wanted yet another reason to hate Artorias.
Right,
you know?
Totally. Like, I get it, for sure. But, like, that scene is another good reason to hate Artorias, because it really does... It's so strong, because if you think about it, again, for more than 5 minutes, you realize what Artorias did to Velvet is fucked up, and then you think about it a little more, and you go, oh god, it's so fucked up. You know? It's not just that he killed her little brother. It's that he killed her little brother and then locked her in a hole for 3 years. You know, he turned her into a monster and then just, like, shut her away from everything for 3 years and, again, only fed her monsters for the whole time. Like, that's the fucked up part. You know, like, that's the part Velvet should be pissed about. What she's pissed about is what happened to Laffy to Laffy. But, like, the part she should be even more pissed about is what happened to her, you know? And from, like, an outside perspective looking in, that moment in the dungeon with her and Eleanor is, like, a reminder, like, oh, this is why I hate Artorias so much, is because he was willing to do this to his own family. You know? It's so fucking up. Oh, it's such a good scene. Artorias
It is really good.
And you know, it's a good punchy moment for Eleanor too.
Yeah, exactly. And before we go into Artorias, like, we'll just cover, you know, the miscellaneous characters after this, because we are running a little long, but whatever, it's great. I don't care at all.
Oh my god, I love these characters. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
If somebody's still with us, good for you.
Yeah. I wanted, like, just, again, like, one of those weird, like, lighter notes about her character. So, she has a scar, and what? Are you
never
not...
get to see it?
You're not gonna follow up on that, ever? Oh, okay. Alright, I guess.
Never?
Like,
never?
Really? Not
Really?
once? Not even, like, a little bit? Like, we kind of see with, like, Raven, we can kind of see his blast core heart in, like, certain outfits he wears. Like, you're not gonna... Really? Not even a hint. Oh, okay. Alright.
Okay. I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
Alright then.
Like,
I guess I'll just go fuck myself then.
Yeah, like, all she does is, like, she flashes,
Kamawana and
Laffy set, and, like, they are traumatized by it, and then that's it. Oh.
And then we never speak of it again, and we
never
never get to see it? Like, not even in a skit? Not even, like, as a special, like, you know, like all the little special skit drawings that only happen for, like, certain things? Like, we don't even get, like, one of those? Like, maybe seeing, like, a little bit of Eleanor's fucked up scar? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Like, and, you know, like, how bad can it be that we don't see it in any of her costumes?
Right. Because, like, it can't be that bad if it's, like, you know, because her, I mean, like, you can't see her chest in her, you can't see her chest in her swimsuit, but, like, you can still see her shoulders, so it can't be that big of a fucked up scar, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
How bad can it be?
And, like, it's not disfiguring because she is, you know, intact as far as we can tell.
Right.
So, like, and that scene would have worked without it in general, and it's just like a weird thing that you don't ever follow up on it. And, like, on that same note, the same thing with Oscar is that we never get to see his burn scar.
And I want to see Oscar's burn scar because I think Oscar is an asshole.
And, you know, well, the thing is, like, they set it up with, you have the bandage, right? Mm-hmm. And that the bandage like that implies that it's a temporary fix and that he will get a magic eye, or it'll fall off at some point, because it's not a permanent fixture. When you see a bandage on a character like that, you know that it's a temporary measure, and there will be a reveal, because that's just the implication of that kind of thing on a character design, you know.
Bandages imply healing, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like an eye. If it was an eye patch, that'd be one thing, where it's like, okay, well, we won't see it because he's going to wear that the whole time. That is a more permanent fixture.
Yeah.
So it's just weird that Eleanor and Oscar get these scars, and they are implied to be bad, because, like, what's her name? His sister, Teresa, like, mentions that, like, your poor face is forever disfigured, blah, 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 whatever. Now I won't want to make out with you. But whatever, the point, you know, it's like, so it's like, okay, so it's real bad, and you're setting it up to be real bad. Well, can we see it?
Can we get an idea of, like, how bad it is? Like, can you, like, maybe throw us a bone here?
Yeah, I want to see your gross eye.
Yeah.
Show us your gross eye.
What's wrong with your face? You know? Like, let me see what's wrong with your face. Come on, guys. Like, throw me a bone here. Let girl characters have, like, weird fucked up scars. Let us see them, you know? Like, it's kind of weird that you're just like, I'm only going to show off Eleanor's dainty shoulders from behind while she talks about this horrible, traumatizing moment. You know? Like, no, let us see the fucked up scar. She has one. Let us know what it looks
or you know
like.
what?
Come on.
You know what would have been cool?
What?
Is if it's like, she's like, look at my scar, and like, you see her back, and there is a scar on her back.
Yeah.
You know, or like not a big one, but like a small one on her back, but she's showing the kids her chest.
Yeah.
So like the implication that like something went through her.
Yeah, or it's like a burn scar that like stretches from like her chest all the way to her back or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Just give us like a little hint to tease. Eleanor, show off your cleavage.
All I ask. Oh, come on.
Eleanor, show off your cleavage so that we can see your cool scar.
You know?
Listen, every other female character does it. Why won't you do it?
That makes us bad people, I think, if we make jokes like that. Whatever. Look, everybody in this game takes their shirt off at some point, including the 10-year-old. So, like, whatever. Let us see. Let me see Eleanor's fucked up scar. Come on, guys. You're killing me here. But, still. Also, just like real short, boy, she's tanky, ain't she?
Oh, she is not what I expected her to be. I expected her to be your secondary healer, you know, your Natalia.
Or your Leia, like, for sure. Nope. She
just charges, and then she was just going to take damage and deal damage.
And she's gonna do it really, really well. Because her second Mystic Art is like a 20-hit Mystic Art or something crazy like
it's
that.
So powerful.
Her Lost Phone Drive is fucking insane. Like, how much damage and how many hits it gets. You're just like, oh god, I've seen the light. Like, when it happens, it's so beautiful. You feel, like, cured after it because it's so strong. Oh my god.
Exactly.
Ah, god, I love her. She tanks so hard, and it's the coolest thing ever. And I want to play, I think when I finally get her in my party in the second playthrough, I'm going to, like, try to play as her and Aizen more often, because I like their tanky styles, you know?
Yeah.
And just to kind of branch out and try other characters, because I heard the game is a lot harder if you're not playing as Velvet, and I actually kind of want to give that a shot, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, to wrap things up, we'll just kind of bunch everyone else together into one group so we can just kind of go rapid fire through just the whatever miscellaneous characters we want to talk about.
So first and foremost is, let's get this out of the way. Boy, how about we go tell Artorias and Melchior and
What was that? Hold on.
Quoi?
Okay, there you are. What did you say?
I said, hey, how about we go tell Artorias and Melchior and Innominat to go fuck themselves?
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right, because these are the worst parts of Van and Mythos, and just condensed and solidified into 3 people. Like, fuck them.
Fuck every single one. I'm glad that Velvet got what she wanted in the end. Like, I know it's not a great ending. We've had this conversation. But Velvet got what she wanted. You know, she wanted her happy ending where she could take care of her brother and everything is fine and da-da-da-da-da. Cool. I still fucking hate Innominat. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if he was hungry or he was sad because he was sick all the time. You don't get to put your sister through that shit. Sorry.
Look, you know what? I said this to you while I was watching the ending. I mentioned to you on Discord. I just typed, I don't care.
I don't care.
Because it was the scene, it was specifically in the scene where Velvet's leaning over Artorias and he's giving his big sad last speech.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't care. Die. Be dead now. Shut up. Velvet, like, the ending, when Velvet cried over him, I was angry. I'm like, no.
No! After everything!
After all that crap, you don't get to pull the, no, but I remember when we were happy, because Velvet had whole scenes about how she doesn't care about the past anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they're happy, like, she treats, and she gets better about it, but, like, she still treats that, the previous life before becoming a demon, she treats that as someone else.
Yeah. And, like, I get it. I guess you could rationalize this more like she's kind of, like, it's like a final nail, like a literal nail in the coffin, or a sword in the chest in this case, of, like, the happy life they used to have, so it's kind of more like she's mourning that, you know, because she never really does, like, outwardly mourn the death of kind of, like, a happier life. Like, I get that. Fine, whatever. But, like, I don't buy this whole shit where she's like, you know, if we had died instead, you would have still avenged us the way you wanted to avenge Celica. Da-da-da-da-da. I don't care, because...
I don't care.
Because here's the thing. After his wife died, and his kid died, and they turned into Moloch, his first reaction was to enslave them. Sorry. Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
If they wanted to do a scene where she mourned the life that she lost because of that, she should have stood up and turned her back to him and then broken.
For sure.
Because having her leaning over him and the tears drip onto his face is, I'm just like, no.
Nobody cares.
I don't. Shut up and be dead now, Artorias.
Oh, God. And then, like,
and
even more so.
It's the same thing with Innominat.
Yeah, I was
it's like,
say.
I don't feel any pity for this kid. He is a sadistic, evil bastard.
No, God.
No, I don't care that you were hungry. You're a fuckhead.
You're a little shit. You turned another little kid into a dragon, and ultimately you can't cure Silva. You actually just have to go kill him on Hexen Island. There's no fixing what you did to like another little kid who was younger than you. You know, like that Moloch was like way younger and had no idea what was going on and was way more helpless than you. And you turned him into a dragon and used him like a tool so that you could, you know, fuck up the party and literally break your sister's spirit. No, I don't feel sorry for you, you little fuck.
It reminds me of, you remember the part in Symphonia where Yggdrasil is giving his big speech, and one by one the party is just, shut up. You're a bad guy. We don't care.
Yes. God, give me that scene again.
Like,
please.
And the Symphonia party is one of the nicest, most compassionate parties in the Tales series. Right. And they're like, I don't care. You want to wipe out an entire race. I don't care about your justifications. Cool motive, still murder.
Still murder. I was about to say, for sure. Cool motive, still murder. Sorry, dude. I don't feel sorry for you at all.
Yeah. So, no, I don't... And it just wraps around with the fact that I don't like the ending. I don't like the way Velvet approached the ending. If it had been and I think it would have been better. I think I kind of mentioned this last week, but like, it would have been better if it was a quick decision that needed to be made in desperation. Yeah. And not something that Velvet was planning on doing, because I don't buy that she was planning it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, I like how to put this? I like the way she ended up, because again, she got what she wanted kind of ultimately. Like, I get that was kind of the only thing she could do. But all the other stuff that happened around it, I didn't like any of that, because, I mean, again, we didn't need her crying over Artorias. We didn't need her pulling some, like, oh, nice big sister thing on Innominat. Because he's a little murder shota bitch, and go fuck yourself, you little piece of shit, in your fucking hot pants. You know? You can take your hot pants and throw yourself off a fucking cliff for all I care. For everything you did to everybody else. It's fucked up. Sorry. I don't feel sorry for any of you. At least they didn't try to make me feel bad for Melchior.
Oh, yeah, you know? Thank God for that. Melchior just died, and no one cared.
Nobody cared. Nobody felt bad about it. Thank God, right? Although they were never going to make me feel bad about Oscar and Teresa. Sorry. Yeah,
no, I didn't feel bad about them. I felt bad that Velvet felt bad, but I didn't care if they were dead. I didn't care.
No, don't care. They're still both assholes who were rude to Eleanor and, again, treated little children like slaves. Sorry.
Yeah. So, I don't
feel bad for you. What?
You're a bad guy. I don't feel bad for you.
Cool motive, cool murder. You know? Like, sorry.
Yeah. And then, so there's two more points I have here in my notes.
Cool.
One thing, we should have seen more of Ifrid.
For fucking real.
Ifrid's a cool guy that we barely got to see be cool. And, like, he's a guy that could go toe-to-toe with a Moloch, and, like, he didn't have any enhancements at all. He was just that strong.
he was just a cool guy who could, like, fight shit, and, like, he could see Aizen before everybody else, so he was just, like, a really weird, unique guy, and, like, his whole party, like, his whole crew kind of sees him as, like, Aizen at one point describes him as, like, the ocean, because, like, the ocean can be really calm and beautiful sometimes, but it can also be, like, really fucking scary, and, like, that's a really cool way to describe a character, and I wanted to see more of that. Like, I really wanted to see Ifrid lose his temper. It's, like, I was really hoping at some point we'd get to see Ifrid and, like, see that rage in him, because, like, it's so, like, apparently it's such a powerful force, you know? But we only ever get to hear about him in anecdotes from the crew, and it's bullshit. I wanted to see him more. And his design is cool.
I want it. And, like, because there's also, like, the setup was there for it, and I wish it would have happened. I don't think Ifrid should have died.
I don't like that Ifrid died either. It felt like an ass-pull.
I think he should have, like, come to his senses and then stayed on the crew as an awesome demon pirate captain.
For sure, right? How fucking cool would that be?
Because his demon design is so fucking cool!
It's awesome looking! Oh my god!
And, you know, you have the precedent with gathering, you know, Dial and,
Kurogane and Kamoana. Yeah, for sure.
And Medessa, like, all of them, like, you have the precedent of, like, gathering up cool demons and stuff for your crew. And then, no, you have to kill Ifrid. I'm just like, no, I don't. Like, the whole cutscene, I'm like, I wasn't even sad. I was angry that this cool guy is dying.
Because it was such an ass pull. It just kind of felt like it happened because the writers thought it needed to happen, but it wasn't really, like, that plot important, you know? Like, nothing really changes about the crew because Ifrid is dead. You know? Like, it kind of, I guess that his dying, but they're still like, fuck yeah, we're gonna go raid the seas and be awesome pirates, even though Captain's dead, because that's what he wants from us. Like, I guess I get that that's cool, because it's kind of like a reinforcement of, like, their creed and the way they live. But if you're gonna kill him off, do it in a more believable way than Aizen punches him really, really hard.
Well, it's also the simple fact that, like, it didn't really affect Aizen either way.
Yeah.
You know? Like, he didn't finish the job because Ifrid was dead. He finished the job because he wanted to see everything through. And Ifrid being dead didn't really change that one way or the other.
Yeah.
He was still fully, he was on board no matter what happened. He was on board before he had to kill Ifrid. He was not going to stop being on board if Ifrid lived.
And the thing is, too, is that, like, Ifrid, he was pissed for Ifrid's sake that Ifrid died, but not... It's not that he was mad that Ifrid died, he was mad that Melchior took Ifrid's, like, spirit away and, like, broke him.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, if Ifrid had lived, you could still have that anger, because it's still, like, you turned my captain into a demon and, like, had
sicked him on my crew.
And sicked him on my crew and made him beat up his friends and tried to kill me, and that's fucked up, so I'm still gonna kick your ass, you know?
Yeah.
Like... You can still have that anger about that without pulling some ass pull and killing him off like that. Like, there's 1,000 other ways you could have handled this.
We literally only got to see him as a demon, because the only time we saw him as a human, he was a hallucination.
Or when he was dying.
Yeah, and it's just like, I wanted to see this cool guy.
Because his design is awesome.
Oh, his design is so baller, man.
Right? Like, the scar, and he's just so pirate, you know?
Oh, yeah, he's got the beard, the facial hair, and everything, and just like, oh my god.
It's like, and the model itself is really, like, it's a really nice model for a
Yeah, it's not, like, generic looking at all. Like, they put the work into him, and I'm just like, we only get to see him twice? Really? But, okay, and alright.
Fine, whatever, I guess. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I like, though, that they basically put that spoiler in the intro of the game, and you don't realize it at first.
Yeah.
Because in the intro, Aizen is fighting a purple dude, and I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? And it took me a while until somebody, Zavid maybe, calls Ifrid old pointy beard. It was Zavid.
Yeah.
Who calls Ifrid old pointy beard. I was literally laying in bed the night after he said that. I'm literally just like trying to sleep, thinking about the game, trying to sleep, thinking about the game, pointy beard, pointy beard, pointy beard, pointy beard.
You just hear Zavid's voice echoing in your brain. Like, it's like in a cartoon, you see, like, a little, like, his portrait, like, saying it and, like, floating around you while you're sleeping.
And I did. It just hit me literally while I'm laying in bed. And I'm like, Pointy Beard. Where have I seen Pointy Beard? No. And it's like how I realized that the thing that Eisen is fighting in the OP for the game, he's fighting Demon Ifrid. So, like, suddenly I knew where the story was going. But they do that all the time in Tales OPs, but I was just like, that was just really, it's a really big spoiler to just stick it in the OP like that.
Yeah, really, it's late game.
That's pretty blatant spoiler to just kind of stick in the OP, but I guess you kind of.
And it's not like the bit in Abyss's opening where you see Xerius get destroyed, because if you don't know what that is, you don't know what you're looking at.
Right.
You just see, like, a landscape, and then there is a big ball of light, and you're like, oh, well, I guess there's a thing happening with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, like, in this case, this is a pretty big little plot point.
Yeah,
it's just this is shoved into the OP.
Yeah, here's a character fighting another character that will be very important later.
Yeah, like, okay, fine, I guess, but thanks, Namdai. Yeah. But, yeah, Ifrid is dope. You know who else is dope?
Who's that?
Zavid.
Zavid's pretty cool, too. In this game.
Cool guy.
This game does a good job of making him real cool.
Zavid makes him a pretty good, he's a pretty good guy in this game. You feel real bad for him by the end of it, because what did Zavid do to deserve any of this? It's pretty fucked up, Namdai, that you're this bad to one character. Like, why? Because it's like...
No, there's a lot we can talk about Zavid, and I think we'll cover most of it when we do Zestiria, because that's really where most of his development comes from. And
actually, it's totally not. It's mostly in Berseria, but I get what you mean.
Yeah.
He's actually like a weird, again, you don't know this because you haven't played the game yet, he doesn't show up and he doesn't actually join the party until like the end of Act 2.
Yeah, he's very late game, and...
He's a late game. He's kind of a Chekhov's gun character. Like, you didn't actually need to have him join the party. He could have just still been a side character the whole time. It's kind of weird, if you think about it, like, for longer than, 5 seconds. But they just decided to go for it, but they don't actually talk about Zavid's backstory that much in Zestiria. Like, it's all Berseria. Like, you don't know, like, they don't tell you in Zestiria where he gets the gun. They don't tell you how Eisen and him know each other. I mean, they tell you nothing about this guy. He just kind of joins the party and is a goofball. Like, a likable goofball, but still kind of like a weirdly mysterious, likable goofball. So, like, all of his development is in Berseria, actually. But,
I do love the trio of him, Rokuro, and Eisen.
Oh, I know.
They are that's a very interesting, like, rivalry friendship they have going on, and it's just very... I could see, like, a whole game about those three.
Oh, God, that would be awesome. Give me a fucking OVA about...
Wait. You know, Eleanor got... Or not Eleanor. What's her name? Alicia got a DLC.
Yeah, she did.
Why can't, like, those three get a DLC?
Oh, man, that would have been awesome, right? Like, give me some post-game deal. I mean, like... So Zestiria kind of, like, really fucked up plot DLC for Namdai for a long time because it rubbed fans so wrong. Probably justifiably so, because, like, it kind of happened, like, nobody knew it happened, and it's a lot of post-game content that should have just been in the game. And it kind of felt a lot like Namdai was trying to milk it, you know? Kind of like the way Mass Effect 3 added its ending afterwards. It was more like that.
Oh, yeah.
So the backlash against the DLC in Zestiria means we probably won't get any plot DLC for a Namdai game, or for a Tales game, anytime soon. Which sucks, because I know, I feel like you could do some cool side story DLC, just like simple stuff, you know? Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh, well. But, yeah, no, like, man, all the little side characters in this game are super cool. Like, all of Ifrid's crew is amazing.
Yeah. Now, but before we drift off from Zavid too much, I just want to like get a few quick bullet points out. Dude, this theme's awesome.
Oh my god, Zavid the Exile is so fucking good. Zavid the Exile might be one of the best tracks in the entire series, because it's just so unique.
Yeah, really. There's nothing else. Like it's the exact same thing of when you first get to Dawngrist in Vesperia, and you hear the theme, and you're like, oh my god, I've never heard a song like this in a Tales game.
Yeah, it's so different, and Goshina is just an amazing composer, and I mean, Zavid's theme is so both parts of it, because there's the guitar bit that plays when you fight the dragon at the end of that side quest, and then there's the like exciting bit that's got like the techno stuff in it, and it's just so good. It's so good and so different, and just a lot of like, just like I said, a really unique theme song for a character. And like every time Zavid is on screen, you're like, yes, play that song. Yeah. Sweet music. I
honestly think that his Berseria design is better than his Zestiria design, and it would have been really cool if we got retroactive DLC that you could just put him in his Berseria outfit in Zesty.
I agree, because, I mean, I love how ridiculous his Zesty design is, because it's the most JRPG thing in the entire fucking world. Like, you see Zavid, you know exactly what kind of game you're playing, and it's a fucking JRPG, because there's a guy with long-ass white hair walking around in tight pants without a shirt on. You know exactly what kind of genre you're about to get into, my friend. But that said, his Berseria design is a lot more solid. It's just a better design.
Real cool.
The short hair looks nice. The jacket is good.
The glove, I love the gloves too.
Yeah, he is actually still wearing them in Zestiria, but it's those weird belts that he has off of his wrist. He just doesn't tie them around his arms anymore. I'm like, why? But there's a lot of things, like all of Zavid's clothes in Zestiria is basically what he's wearing in Berseria, except now it's more of a disaster.
Yeah, it's like he forgot how to actually put the clothes on.
Like, why the fuck aren't you strapping your holsters around your thighs, you fucking train wreck? Yeah. Please. You have any idea how much it pisses me off that he carries his gun around in the back of his pants, even though he's got two holsters right on his legs? Do you know how much that pisses me off? Like, so much. Oh my god. You're literally wearing not one, but two holsters, dude. Put them there.
No, it's so dumb. Like how what's the, like, egregious do you have to make it? Like, okay, yeah, we get how cool you are, dude. But you're doing the put the gun in the back of your pants thing like a cool Western man does.
Yeah, but in that case, take the fucking holsters off of his design. I am begging you.
No, I just realized what it is.
What?
It's all those pictures of like dude bros with like
I know what you're gonna say.
Where they have like their hat on backwards and their sunglasses on their forehead and they're shielding their eyes with their hand.
And it's like, gee, I wish I was wearing something that could keep the sun out of my eyes. Like, gee, I wish I was wearing something that I could put my gun in. Like, okay, and here's another thing, and this is just a stupid thing, but guns don't exist in the Zestiria and Berseria world, right?
Yeah, of course. People see that, they're like, what is this devil stick? Oh my god, you're right. Wait, where? Because he has two.
Yeah.
But there's only one gun equivalent that exists in...
Where the fuck did he get the holsters? That's what I want to know.
Who made those?
Did he have them specially made only to never use them?
He must have, like, commissioned a leathersmith to invent holsters,
and then never used them.
And then he got two of them in case he found another boomstick, another fire maker.
another one of a kind, never ever seen before or since weapon. A mysterious weapon.
Or maybe
from,
he was
a
like
bygone area.
Maybe he just got confused in the order, and he's like, "So, are you left-handed or right-handed?" Well, I've got two hands. Because Zavid's kind of dumb. Maybe he just like
Zavid is kind of dumb, for sure. Yeah, like Zavid's kind of dumb. So, like Zavid is the idiot character in this game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's that part in like when you're on the floating islands where he's like, he literally says, "Explain." Oh, no, tell me what's going on. Explain. Small words.
Yeah, exactly.
He actually says small words, and I'm like, I understand, buddy. It's okay. You're stuck in a JRPG, and you don't know what's going on. It's fine. A lot of people are like you. But yeah, and it's just, he's an idiot, but I adore this character.
Yeah.
And we'll talk, when we talk about Zestiria, I'll really
oh
get
yeah, of
into
course.
it, like a lot. So just kind of
because
hold on to
he's
your butt.
right now he's relegated to side.
But like the short version is, I would die for this character. He's too good for this world.
Like right now he's relegated to
yeah.
side character category, but like once he gets the party member, we can just go all out. I'm still here.
Did I lose you? I did.
Wait,
that's bullshit.
you can't hear me?
All this time.
Okay, sorry, we're back.
The audio mix. After 2 and something hours, the audio finally decided, like, boy, you guys have had enough. But we're not done yet, motherfuckers.
No.
We've still got at least 10 more minutes of it in us.
Yeah. There is literally one more character I want to mention.
Is it Dial?
And no, we already talked about Dial.
Okay. Who is it?
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah?
Where did Percy go?
I assume he's still in that dungeon.
Right? Because, like, every other character, like, in the last, like, shot of the credits, like, you see human Dial, and you see human Kamoana and Medusa, and, you know, they're all hanging out. You get little shots of everyone. You even see Tabitha again.
Yeah.
You see the dogs, and you see the bird.
But you don't get to see Percival.
Percival's just left.
It's bullshit, because he was a bro, you know? Like, he was a good dude. He deserved to have some kind of, like, little shot in the epilogue. Like, he was a cool guy.
We needed, because, like, you know what else was really missing is we didn't get any shot of, like, the inevitable reform of the Abbey that would come after, now that Artorias and Melchior and Shigure are out of power.
Actually.
Or dead.
Actually, that's what Eleanor ends up doing, so you did kind of get to see that.
But we didn't see her. We saw her fixing up a town, but, like, that would have been, like, a really good shot to be like, well, what's going to happen with the Abbey? I mean, you would have seen, like, Eleanor and Percival chatting it up about, like, whatever, and, like, they're looking at a new, like, constant, like, you know, a new
group of exorcists
rule
or something, I don't know.
Yeah, or whatever, like, looking at new guidelines for rules or regulations or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I feel that, for sure.
Like, it's just, like, one of those weird things where, like, in a game like this, where, like, side characters aren't really forgotten and they remain, like, being important people throughout the plot line, like, Percival just leaves, and he is not...
I kind of have a sneaking suspicion they forgot about him.
It might have, and, like, or maybe there is a side quest that you and I both didn't trigger, because I'm sure there's a ton of them out there that we just didn't end up getting.
You're right.
But, like, in the plot, Percival just leaves, and then he is done, and we never see him again, which sucked, because, yeah, he was really cool.
He was a nice guy.
He was a total bro, and, like, his story was really sad.
It totally was.
You know?
Like, it was really fucked up the more you hear about it. You're like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
He's like, they beat me up because I sat in a chair wrong once. And I'm like, oh. Boy!
You've had it rough, my friend. I'm real sorry. You are absolutely welcome to come hang out with us on our dope secret hideout on an island. Please do.
Yeah.
You know? Like, poor Percival. You know, all he wanted was for his bird to be happy. You know? Like, A man with simple dreams, who was, like, a nice guy the whole time he was at Titania, you know? Like, he was like, yeah, I'll help out. I don't like cleaning. I like hanging out with you guys. You guys are cool. Like, what a bro.
Yeah, all the pirates are talking about how, like, yeah, man, all he wants to do is help out. We thought he was going to be, like, a real sissy about cleaning up and, like, he wouldn't want to get involved, but he's willing to do everything, so we kind of feel bad for taking advantage of him.
But he likes
and I'm
doing
like,
it.
You guys, yeah, he's awesome. I want to see him help more. And then he just leaves and he's gone.
Oh, poor Percival. He didn't deserve it. He deserved better everything.
So my theory is they should make a sequel, and it should star Percival, Zavid, Aizen, and Rokuro.
I would actually play the shit out of that DLC. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That actually sounds like the most fun ever. Like, one actually nice, like, sophisticated guy, and 3, like, thuggish assholes, one of which is a nice guy, kinda, and 2 guys who are actual genuine assholes. Sounds like the best game ever. Are you kidding me? Like,
oh yeah, it'd be great.
Fuck yeah, I'm totally into this plan. Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, Berseria is pretty fucking good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, you know what? Berseria is a pretty good game. I'm pretty confident in saying that Tales of Berseria is a pretty good game. You can put that on the box, Namdai. This game's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I think this game's pretty good. Oh my god. I feel like I have so much more I want to say about it too. That's the problem, is that I feel like I haven't. We've been talking for nearly 3 hours, and I'm like, I haven't said enough. And I'm sure whoever is still listening is like, shut the fuck up. I refuse! I refuse!
We keep saying, like, okay, we'll do another podcast of these, you know, like, I think, like, at some point, we need to do just, like, a general Tales Roundup podcast.
Ooh, for sure! Where we, like, compare all of them? Hell yeah!
Yeah!
Oh, man. Sounds like a great plan. I'd totally get into that.
Like, yeah, just, like, the last little bits that we didn't pick up on in the previous ones. We're just like, oh, let's just wrap, you know, just get it all out there, no matter what. We'll just jump from game to game, whatever, and yeah, compare and contrast. We should totally do that.
I'm totally into this plan, because I still need to sort out if Berseria is second best in both plot and gameplay, but the first gameplay is not a good plot, and the first plot is not a good gameplay. Does that make Berseria the best game? I know we talked about this last week, but I'm still not sure.
Yeah.
I think it makes Berseria the best game.
We need to just stack them all up and just, like, pour over all of them.
Really,
like,
really, really think about it and be like,
Yeah.
Because, like, right now, I'm thinking it makes it the best game, but every now and then I'll think about, like, boy, I really, really like Tales of the Abyss. Like, in comparison, like, the way Abyss did the, you know, protagonist fucks off at the end of the game, comes back kind of thing, compared to the way, like, you know, Berseria handled the same ideas. Like, boy, Abyss did it really, really good, even with all of its flaws. Like, man, Abyss did it really good. So, like, I don't know anymore. I just know that I really, really like Tales of Berseria, and I really would love some DLC. I know we're not getting it.
Yeah.
But I would love some DLC, some post-game DLC about these characters, because they deserve it, you know? Like, I want to know what's going on with this world. I really want a third game. I want a third game so badly I can't see straight. Oh my god. Like, this E3 is the year, Namdai. Announce it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Give us something. Just give us some more.
Give me one more game just to wrap things up. You know, bring Velvet and Saray both back and put them in the same party together and let me see those interactions.
Yeah, let me see what that's like.
To see, like, the purest of all cinnamon rolls and the literal first Lord of Calamity stuck in a party together. Hell yeah, I want to see that more than anything. Absolutely. Because I really love Velvet, and I want her to come back and be happy. You know? That's what I want. Damn it. I love her. I want her and Fee to meet each other again. Damn it. You know?
Yeah. Okay. I think for now that'll do it, though, because holy shit, we are going to break 2 hours and 40 minutes with this.
Yeah, we are. Go for yourself. I could still keep going. But I won't. But I could.
No.
But I won't.
So we'll, I think after we wrap up Zestiria, we'll do a Tales roundup.
Woohoo!
And then that'll be really cool.
It's gonna be awesome.
So yeah, I'm gonna get to work on that at a pace. I have to clear out some other stuff first because other video games are still happening, and I don't want to start another big JRPG.
Video games happened really, really hard.
It'll probably, again, like we mentioned last week, oh boy, that Summer Games drought is gonna be real friendly.
I'm so excited. I've never been excited for the Summer Games drought until now. Like, usually I'm like, oh no, summer's coming, nothing's gonna come out, no! But this year, I'm like, sweet Jesus, thank you, a break! I don't have to spend money for 3 months! Oh my god! Please, I need a break. My wallet needs a break here, people. I'm already considering buying Nier, even though I definitely don't need it.
No, that'll be something that's worth talking about at some point too. So I'm just like,
waifu booty.
I know. Did you see her butt? It'll just be like the podcast will just be us being like, yeah, but did you see her butt?
Robot booty waifu.
No, I just remember that you were telling me like the other day. You're like, I kind of want to trade in Horizon to get Nier Automata. But I feel like a bad feminist if I trade in,
so true.
Modestly dressed, not super sexualized protagonist for robot ass.
I do. I feel like a bad woke gamer girl if I'm trading in the ideal lady protagonist for a video game. She wears normal clothes. She's self-sufficient. She's pretty, but not too... She just looks like a normal person, you know what I mean? And it's like, yes, this is what I've been dreaming about in a video game all these years. And then I look at Nier, and I'm like, robot booty waifu.
Yeah. And then you look at Nier, and you're like, oh, but that looks like fun, though.
That looks like fun.
Oh, no.
And it's got robot butts. Robots.
No, but it's like we keep repeating, It's like we keep repeating though, is that dude, he was honest about it, so it's okay.
Honest about it. Damn it, Yoko Taro was honest about the fact that he just likes girls in high heels, and I respect that. If the directors of Berseria, to bring this back to being on topic, if the directors of Berseria had been half as honest about Velvet's costume, if they had just been like, yeah, we just like boobs.
That's fair. That's fair.
Fair enough.
If they had just...
Fair enough. I still think it's a stupid costume.
Yeah, but if they'd been like, yeah, we wanted Velvet to look like a trashy pirate, I'd been like, that's fair. That's fair. All right, yeah, that's fine.
Sure,
okay.
sure. Yeah.
I can respect that.
Cool. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, totally. Instead, you were like, we're not gonna censor the game for the West because and then they censored the game for the West anyways. Because they're not very subtle. They were just like, oh wait, we can't have child murder in our game in the
Apparently the Americans have...
Can you believe we went 2.5
Oh my, I almost forgot about it, but yeah. They're like, Okay, I'm gonna stop it here because we're done. Thanks to Broken Free for use of our background music. Link to his work in the description. You can email us at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com if you have advice of how to get our recordings to stop fucking up all the time. Or you can tweet it at the Gorge Podcast. I'm going to start at some point soon. I'm going to start the Gorge Super Stream. Once I get that sorted out, I'm going to at least start streaming. We'll get the donation stuff worked out later on. I just want to make sure that part works first. Sarah, tell us about your other podcast real quick.
Oh god, it's Big Gay Nerds. It's a live play LGBT RPG podcast. It's pretty cool. We're on SoundCloud and not on Twitter yet, but we are on Tumblr. Big Gay Nerds. Just Google it; it'll come up. Yeah, that's it. Because if we don't stop, the recording will fuck up again.
Yeah. Fuck Audacity.
Fuck Audacity.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.